The following is a presentation of KBEK Sports, local sports.
With the goal on the shorthander.
A Q Media Group production.
Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. I mean, he can't miss.
Local high school sports.
Oh, it's knocked out. Oh boy, 1-0.
Also available for free on the Nice 95.5 mobile app or on the Q Media Group YouTube stream.
And he's off to the races. 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. He's gone!
Now to bring you the call, here's Ethan Game Day Gilman.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to St. Cloud Tech High School here in St. Cloud, Minnesota for tonight's Section 5 3A football championship game between the Annandale Cardinals and your Foley Falcons. I'm Ethan Game Day Gilman, and I am joined by Mr. Andy Beckstrom here with me this evening. He's called actually both of the Foley Falcon playoff games. Andy, not Adam. How's it going here this evening?
That's right. You see him quite often, so it's kind of the same. You know, they both start with A. We're both pretty cool.
Yes, very cool people. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful night. I mean, it's a beautiful night for us, I guess. We're kind of up in the booth up here, but a little bit of rain coming down. I think mostly it stopped as I was walking in. It was barely a sprinkle, and so I think that's kind of calmed that down a little bit. I'm sure footing might be a little bit of an issue, but we got a nice turf field, beautiful facility, an amazing spot to be able to watch a game, and it should be an interesting game. Foley Falcon team that, you know, the last couple of years have somehow, some way found a way to be able to get hot late, and an Annandale team that's one of the best in the state, and so you know, you want to be able to get to state, you want to be able to win a championship, you got to beat the best. And so it'll be a good test tonight for Foley.
It certainly will. And before we get too far into that and talk about these two teams here tonight, I want to take care of some business here on the Here's the Pitch pregame show. We'll take a commercial break, hear a word from our fine sponsors, then we'll be back, talk about this game and the two teams involved after a word from our sponsors here on KBEK.
Your journey to smile with your forever starts at Embrace Orthodontics. The team at Embrace is committed to providing world-class care and a remarkable orthodontic experience. Choose between custom Light Force braces or Invisalign clear aligners with locations in Pine City, Lindstrom, and Cambridge, and a plan to fit your budget, whether you have insurance or not. Embrace Orthodontics will make your smile journey comfortable, convenient, and customized just for you. Visit EmbraceMN.com today to find out how to set up your free exam. EmbraceMN.com. Embrace Orthodontics. A smile you will embrace forever.
Here's the pitch.
Here's the pitch in North Branch, the area's premier indoor batting cages and training facility. State-of-the-art pitching machines for softball and baseball. Rent cages with machines or bring your own pitcher. Here's the Pitch also offers instruction from experienced players. And Here's the Pitch has enough room for coaches to bring the whole team for training. Here's the Pitch in the North Branch Outlet Mall.
Hey there, Brad from Lee's Pro Shop here. Are you ready to show off that school pride? Lee's Pro Shop is your official letter jacket supplier, and we're here to help you celebrate every touchdown, goal, and win. We got everything you need to create a perfect letter jacket that tells your story. And for a limited time, when you come in and mention this radio ad, you get $10 off your letter jacket. That's right, $10 off. So come in, let's start to tell your story. Lee's Pro Shop, where the passion for sports begins.
How do you want to be celebrated? A church service? A celebration of life in a chapel? Maybe even cremation with an outdoor gathering. Many of these can be taken care of ahead of time and can be affordable. Metvin Funeral and Cremation Services has the resources and expertise to help you plan ahead. Learn how you can make the decision now that will make things easier for your family in the future. Metvin Funeral Home in Mora, Isle, and Sandstone, or find them online at metvinfuneralhome.com.
Back here on Nice 95.5 FM, KBEK, we're here in the Here's the Pitch pregame show. Here's the Pitch in North Branch is the area's premier indoor training facility. Fast pitch, slow pitch, or baseball batting cages, you can tune up your swing at Here's the Pitch in North Branch. Really don't have any A&W hometown handoff tonight. All of our other local schools in football have been eliminated, but we'll get an A&W Hometown Handoff and talk about what's coming up tomorrow. Your A&W Hometown Handoff brought to you by A&W in Pine City. You can stop in for a frosty mug of their famous root beer or add some ice cream, make it a root beer float. Pair with a juicy cheeseburger or savory mushroom and Swiss, plus those amazing cheese curds waiting for you. A&W is rooting for the local athletes playing here tonight. Now, we'll talk about Rush City playing tomorrow in their fourth in a row section championship game against ESCO. I'll be back up there tomorrow at Hermantown at 4 p.m. for that one over on WCMP. But here in this game, it's Annandale and Foley. Both of these teams how'd they get here? Well, taking a look at the regular season, it was perfect for Annandale, 8-0 on the regular season. For Foley, it was a even 4-4 record to end the regular season. But as you heard before the break, Andy Beckstrom mentioned how Foley just knows how to get hot late. And this year, I don't know if it was more getting hot late, although they did. They had a pretty darn good season nonetheless. They played some tough competition, but into the playoffs, they were able to defeat rival Malacca 33-8 at home. And then they went on the road to Spectrum, who, questionable number 2 seed. They were able to beat kind of handedly 35-0. That's how they got here. Annandale beat Pine City. Well, we all kind of unfortunately seen that one coming. Annandale is just such a good team, 66-0. Pine City, though, before that game, before the playoffs started, they were the second best defense in the section. But man, Annandale is such a special beast. They are, after one playoff game, including the regular season, scoring 46 points per game and only allowing 4 here, Andy. They are also the number 4 team in all of Class 3A in the state. And now, it's not like they didn't play a tough schedule. You can look at a lot of it and say, okay, maybe it wasn't so tough. They did play this Foley team and beat them at Foley 40-6. But other than that, there were only 2 teams that were really worth, talking about, meaning they went and had a deep playoff run. Holy Family Catholic was one of them, and Jordan was the other team. Otherwise, teams that they played weren't really super great.
Yeah, it's for the most part battle-tested group. They've been kind of in and around the section championship the last handful of years. Of course, a couple years ago, being able to do Annandale at home against Malacca, and they've been kind of in and around that for a while. So even the youngsters that maybe didn't get a lot of playing time that are on the sideline, they've kind of been there and done that. And they really think they got a really special group this year, and they're really putting it together. When you score that many points and you only give up only 4, that's a recipe for success. And that's one of the things is, there are certain teams that you can kind of rely on one thing or the other. But with Annandale, they really are kind of that total package. And, they really think that they got a good chance to be able to do some damage down in the cities, when we get closer to Prep Bowl, weeks, when we get to U.S. Bank Stadium. And that's the type of hardware they're looking for. And, of course, you mentioned that they played Foley earlier this year. And I like to think that Foley's probably improved maybe a little bit since then. But at the same time, that Annandale defense is just so tough.
Yeah, they are. Speaking of Annandale in the state tournament, they were there last year, but they fell in the first round to a really good Pequot Lakes team, 22-15. So they're looking to get back and make some noise. Of course, Pequot Lakes and Piers battling here tonight in 7-3A. Those two were the 1 and 2 seeds all year long in that section. I'm excited to see how that one plays out here tonight. But talking about Foley finished again at a even 500. 4-4 during the regular season, and in the playoffs, in the 2 games, including the regular season, they're scoring 26 points per game while giving up 17. And if we go ahead and take a look at what their schedule looked like, it was a win over Glencoe Silver Lake to start the season. They played that Piers team the second game of the season on the road. Now, they lost, but I feel like this, especially how good we know Piers is now, that probably could have been a lot more lopsided, but Foley kept it close, 24-0.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, that's one of the things you want to try to at least keep it in that ballpark. You want to give yourself a chance. You want to do everything you can, especially against top teams like that. You know that they're going to be able to move the ball. They're going to have some pretty good defense. But if you can keep yourself in that ball game, not beat yourself up, that's one of the biggest things that we've seen with some of the games that we've had this year has been, not lacking the ability to do this, that, the other thing, but then shooting themselves in the foot, penalties, turnovers, things like that. And that's something that Foley's done a really good job being able to limit throughout the course of the year.
And then they were able to go on the road again, come home again and lost to Annandale 40-6. Then they went on a nice 3-game win streak over Little Falls, St. Cloud Apollo, and Malacca, scoring over 40 points in each of those 3 wins before they went on the road to Jordan. This one, I thought this was going to be a good game for them. They lost by 7 to a pretty darn good Jordan team, 28-21, before going on the road and finishing the season at Albany, who is also in their section championship. So it's not like they played cupcake teams. They played some of the top teams in their own sections. So you mentioned how Annandale's battle-tested. This Foley team is pretty battle-tested as well.
Absolutely. And, I know that the schedule makers, kind of do it, from a state level with the districting and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's not a slouch of a schedule. You mentioned especially the last couple of teams. Jordan is one of those teams that's very, very good. We've seen them also take on Annandale and put up a pretty darn good fight against that squad. And, Foley, pushed Jordan right to that edge. And you don't want to say that, losing is ever a good thing. But at the same time, if you're in a ball game like that and have a chance, they say chip, chair, and a chance.
Yeah.
And when you only lose by 7, you're in that ballpark of being able to, maybe knock off one of the other top teams in the state, which I'm sure has got to give you a little bit of confidence and something you can talk about in your huddle, and in practice all week long. That like, hey, we had these guys on the ropes. We can go get the next one.
No doubt. And funny enough, Jordan is going to be playing Holy Family Catholic in their section championship. So all ties into one at this game, apparently. But, yeah, we've got a lot of section championships going on here tonight. A lot of fun matchups. But looking at this Foley team, you were able to call their 2 playoff games, one against Malacca and their win against Spectrum. Kind of give us an overview of what Foley does, what they do well, and what you hope to see from them tonight in order to get a win.
Well, I think that, on defense, they're kind of an opportunistic team. They got a pretty good front. They have 2 defensive tackles that are really solid guys. They clog up a lot in that middle part. And then offensively, they run the ball really, really well. You're going to see a heavy dose of Kipka tonight. Brody Kipka is going to be absolutely tremendous coming out of the backfield. He's one of those guys that you can't just bump into him. You can't just arm tackle him. You have to fundamentally wrap him up and bring him down, which I'm sure is something that Annandale is going to be able to try to do tonight. But he does just a great job just bouncing off things and making something out of nothing. They do have the ability to throw the ball with Carson Brenny. They got a couple of receivers between Liberta and then Dane Wheeler. Dane Wheeler had, I think, 3 touchdowns in the first half last week against Spectrum. They don't throw the ball a ton. They usually run the ball to set up the pass, but they have that ability. Brenny is a good enough quarterback. He can put it in the air. They have the confidence in him to be able to do that. It's not just passing just for the sake of passing. When they're doing it, they're making a strike.
Yeah, and this Foley team you mentioned has been kind of also in and around this section championship over the last few years. I remember their run when they were able to beat Mora at home those few years ago when Mora was expected to be the section champion, especially after a battle-tested year. They were kind of young. That team grew up together. Those were the seniors that everyone was kind of expecting to go the distance, and Foley beat them, and then Foley went to the section championship, sadly lost. But this Foley team they're not shy to this section championship game. This is something they've been around and been wanting to get back to. Obviously, Malacca has been kind of in their way as well. The last couple of years, they've run into a couple of different teams, especially seeding-wise. Sometimes you run into maybe just a better team, but they get back here for the first time in a few years. And, I mentioned it this morning on the morning show with Adam Hefty, not Andy Beckstrom, Adam Hefty. I mentioned it. Foley is a physical team. And sometimes when you go into a game like this, against Annandale, who the last couple of games have kind of been, I don't want to say cakewalks, but against Pine City, especially on the scoreboard, it definitely looked like more of a cakewalk. So sometimes in a game like this, when you can come out and be that physical team, sometimes Annandale might not quite be ready for a physical team like Foley, and they might be a little surprised and taken aback, and then all of a sudden you got them on their heels early, and now you're competitive.
Exactly, and I think that's probably something that Foley's kind of looking to be able to do, and I'm sure Annandale's probably having that conversation that, hey, let's set that tone early. Let's not let them punch us in the mouth. Let's do the punching. But Foley's going to try to do that exact same thing. I didn't see who won the toss or what the choice was. We'll find out here in moments.
I believe it was Foley who won it. I don't know what the decision was, though.
I think if it's me, if you win the toss, you almost want to take the ball to kind of just, yes, you're going to give the ball away at halftime, but you at least give yourself a chance to, let's strike first. Let's take that momentum. And, I mean, everybody's a little different, so, who knows what they're going to decide to do. But that's one of those things that, you try to set that tone early, and whoever's going to, be able to win that battle right off the gate might be able to set a tone that could last the entire game.
It certainly could. Well, that is going to do it for our Here's the Pitch pregame show. Here's the Pitch in North Branch. You can use their state-of-the-art pitching machines or bring your own pitcher to perfect next season's swing. Here's the Pitch in the Tanger Outlet Mall, North Branch. Well, coming up here in just a couple seconds will be the Kettle River Pizza kickoff. It will be Foley to kick it away, so they will go on defense first. It will be Benjamin Sheffers, who will kick it away for the Foley Falcons. They will boot it away left to right on your radio dial. That means the Cardinals of Annandale will move right to left offensively.
Sheffers a pretty good guy out of the backfield, kind of a wing back type of player, but he is a heck of a kicker.
Well, we will get to see that right now. Need to fundraise for your team? Kettle River Pizza in Ascove has a practical and user-friendly fundraising program. Visit Kettle River Pizza to find out more. So Sheffers will ready. And the Section 5 3A championship game is underway with the boot, and Sheffers, it'll be taken in inside the 15 at around the 12-yard line, up to the 20, 25, cuts it back towards the middle, breaks off the tackle and glides up past the 30 before he's taken down at about the 32-yard line, and that's where Annandale will start on offense.
Yeah, decent return there by Isaiah Turner, able to get the ball up. A decent field position here, and it'll be interesting to see what they come out with. Watching them warm up, they'd like to throw the ball. They're a prolific offense all over the place. Foley hoping to be able to have the athletes and that push up front to be able to control that line of scrimmage.
Well, quarterbacking them will be number 7, Michael Koval, a 6'4", 220-pound senior. Good size for a quarterback, I think,
Well, you get to that next level usually with something like that.
He will take the snap. He'll give it right up the middle right away, and he's going to grind and carry for a couple of yards, but that's all he is going to get on the carry. Couldn't quite tell who carried the ball, but they did run it.
In that middle, you're going to see Isaiah and Messiah Visner, and you're going to see a Mason Roski, a couple of those big guys in that middle, being able to clog things up a little bit. And that's something that Foley's going to have to try to maintain, try to be able to get on the edge and limit the perimeter game. But those guys in the middle can definitely slow down your offense if you try to run between the tackles.
They will go with Tripp's bunch on this left side. A single wide receiver on the right. They'll give it to Horsch. Horsch up the middle, and he cuts it out to the left side. Breaks off a tackle to the 40, and then is tackled down at the 44. That is Rylan Horsch, a 6'3", 210-pound sophomore.
Pretty good seal on that edge there. Kipka kind of went up the line to be able to force him back in play, but the Falcons not pursuing quite down the line as well as maybe they'd hoped. Good blocking out in front, though, for Annandale to be able to spring him.
Up to the 44-yard line now. A good gain on that one of about 12 for Horsch, and that'll bring up a new set of downs for Annandale. They'll split out the receivers, 2 on each side. They'll give up the middle here to number 22. He is stopped at the line of scrimmage. Thought he might get one, but they're going to give him that one. But on the carry that time, number 22, Cameron Ergen, with a gain of 1.
That's Isaiah Visner, again, getting that push up front and being able to push that line out. It's kind of almost a modified 3-4 to a certain extent. Kipka kind of flexes back and forth a little bit, as well as DeMars on that far side, but they like to try to be able to just mostly rush those 3 up front and then bring a little heat from different directions.
Michael Koval will bring in the play from the sideline. Again, the senior quarterback for this squad. He'll go with 2 receivers on each side of the formation. His running back to his left in the gun. Takes the snap. This will be their first throw. They're going to look to go over the middle. It's nearly intercepted. It should have been intercepted, and the defender read that like a book. That is number 5, Jacob DeMars. Whoa, what a play.
That was a really nice-looking throw, and I think Kipka had a little bit to do with that. He came blitzing off the corner like we talked about, rushed that throw just a little bit. And DeMars did a great job kind of sniffing that out, maybe kind of over-pursued it just a little bit, but just got him in the hands as he was trying to fall down. Nothing else, he forces him to a 3rd and long.
Yeah, 3rd down and 9 now for the Annandale Cardinals. 2 receivers again on each side of the formation. Running back to the left of Koval in the gun. He'll take the snap. It'll be another throw. He'll look. He's going to have a man over the middle. It is incomplete. Great coverage there by number 15. That's Theo Rasmussen on the defense. And it's going to bring up 4th down.
Another ball, well defended, nearly picked off on the tip ball as well as it went over the top of the safety. But this Foley squad, they know what they're dealing with the offense coming their way and with the kind of spread offense trying to throw the ball around. They're ready for it this time.
Yeah, so they give up 1 first down, and that is it. They'll force them into punt. Back inside the 30, they will set their returner. And here's the bunt, or the punt. Well, I suppose you could call it a bunt, too. It is going to be rolling and roll forward nearly to the 35. It's taken and downed at the 34, so that's where the Foley Falcons will take over.
That's a good start there for the Foley Falcons defensively. I'd said, you kind of want to come out maybe on offense, but I think that's a pretty good start if you're on defense to be able to kind of set that tone. Where you're going to be able to do a little bit, but we're not just going to let you walk right down the field.
Yeah, they did a good job here. First possession of the game offensively for Annandale. That's a win. That is a big win for Foley, being able to come out and stop them on 3rd down after a 1st down. Looks like a little bit of confusion now as to who is supposed to be in and what the play call might be.
So for DeMars to come back in. You see DeMar's kind of offsetting a little bit of what Kipka does, but Kipka is going to be that bell cow that's going to get the bulk of the carries.
So in the gun, they'll go 2 receivers on each side of the formation. They had some movement at the snap, but must have stopped just in time. And Kipka with the carry up to the 40. It's a gain of 6.
So normally the quarterback is Brenny, and I am not seeing him out there. He was warming up before the game, so I don't know if there's an injury, if they're trying to go a little bit of a wildcat type of formation, but normally Brenny is the one calling the signals.
Well, it looks like the lineup in that wildcat again with Kipka, the man in the gun, and he takes it off the left side line. Nothing doing that time. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. So no gain that time for Kipka. It'll be 3rd and about medium, we'll call it.
Okay, so it does appear it is more of just kind of a wildcat. You see Brenny, he is over there by the coaching staff, kind of about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, behind the original line of scrimmage. Now he does come in, replacing DeMars.
So it will be 3rd down and medium now for the Falcons on their first offensive possession, trying to avoid a 3-and-out. They'll go 2 receivers right, running back line up to the right, and Brenny steps up. He's got some room to run, breaks off a tackle from behind, and then is absolutely stamped at the 40.
Yeah, it was a good decision to be able to step up in the pocket, but the Annandale just pursued to the ball so well, and just good coverage downfield. Never really gave him a chance to set his feet and look for anybody, and the pursuit gets him forcing the 4th down.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because it looked like he had a little bit of room to run, and it almost worked against him, but he did the right thing in keeping his eyes downfield. It kind of worked against him because then that gap to run closed on him real quick, so even though he did the right thing, it ultimately worked against him, sadly. So it will be a punt here for Foley. And the snap is back. Oh, he did bobble it, but good blocking up front, and this is going to be a good punt. That's going to flip field. That's taken inside the 20, but he's got some room to the right now. He's going to cut it out wider past the numbers to the 40, to the 45, and he's shoved out of bounds.
That was a beautiful block along this near side there by Benjamin Rubnik, being able to set himself up about the 35-yard line, forced the gunner to be able to take an inside route, and then sealed that edge to allow a few extra yards going up that sideline.
So the Cardinals will take over on their own 45-yard line. Another good return for them. We've seen that on the kickoff up to the 32, or inside, the 20, or past the 20. That's what you call it. I'll get there. 45-yard line, they'll come out, and they'll go bunch receivers on this bottom side of the formation. Lone receiver at the top, running back to the left of the quarterback. They'll look to throw on that far side. It's just a comeback route, and he takes it at the 50 to the 45-40. He's got the speed, and he is gone. So it'll be a 55-yard catch and run by number 6, Colton Purcell.
Carter Liberta took an aggressive route on that edge. He was kind of on an island. They threw that ball to that far side, trying to be able to get it to just the open field a little bit. Liberta came up hard and aggressive, trying to be able to get Purcell for just a minimal gain. But Purcell, with that burst of speed, able to get around that corner and then just nobody beyond him.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And playing a little bit of off coverage, giving him the space because obviously a dangerous receiver with that speed, but just gave him a little bit too much there as that comeback route. Now, he was alone over there in coverage, and this PAT is good to make it 7-0. Annandale on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. They take a 7-0 lead, but the unfortunate thing for Foley is it's going to be tough whether they decide to put a safety over top or not because you have to worry about the run with Annandale, but again, they can also hurt you with the pass. So, defensively, as a coordinator, where do you go and how do you decide when to put the safety out there and when to bring him down closer to the box?
Well, and to a certain extent, you almost got to go situation by situation. You put one of your smartest guys back there to kind of read the situation. If it's a passing down or a running down, early in the downs, likely try to be able to sneak them up there a little bit more. But you got to have a great game from those 3 guys up front, being able to clog that up a little bit to limit it. Then you can keep that safety back there just a little bit more and not have to cheat them up too much. But on obvious passing downs or just when it looks like they're likely going to be able to throw the ball, you have to have somebody back there with just so much weaponry, I guess you could say, for this Annandale squad.
And was that more of a obvious passing situation where a punt, they get a good return, they're set up almost in plus territory already? Or is that one where you're still thinking they might run?
I think I was probably looking more run, and really the pass play wasn't necessarily a deep pass play. It was more of just almost not really a bubble screen, but just kind of a little button hook to the outside, just looking to get 4 or 5 yards on first down, be able to establish yourself ahead of the sticks. And Foley just kind of got caught with their defense shading the wrong way.
Murphy on the return. Good return so far, up past the 30 to the 35, makes a man miss, cuts it out left, and then he is swiped down at the 37, 36-yard line. So that is where Foley will take over. A good return there by Vaughn Murphy.
Yeah, really nice. A couple of moves there. Again, you talked about, kind of making a good decision, but it kind of worked bad. A couple of juke moves. He had to stop his momentum and shift to the left, and each time he did it, kind of gave up a little bit more space, and eventually it kind of caught up with him.
So they will be at the 37-yard line. Will Foley, they'll come out in the eye with 2 receivers right. They'll give it right up the middle to Kipka. Kipka runs into a wall, but he still picks up about 3-4 yards. Oh, they're going to actually mark it back to the 40, so it does pick up 3. I thought he got that extra yard. Well, no, now they mark it at the 41. All right.
That is one thing that Foley does really well. We talked about that big defensive line. That big defensive line also plays big offensive line. And so they get a pretty good push up front, and if you can win the sticks, it's going to put you in a good position as the game goes along.
It certainly will, and we know it starts in the trenches, and it will certainly be a lot of battles in the trenches here tonight. 2 receivers left. They'll have a wing back off the left side. They'll look for a quick pass, a slant pattern, but just past the outstretched arms there of the receiver, Carter Liberta, and it's incomplete.
Trying to go just a little slant pass, but Brenny kind of threw it a little bit behind him, maybe trying to sneak it in that window. It's a nice pass play if you can get it to work, but it's usually such a tight little window trying to be able to get it between linebackers and the defensive coverage.
Yeah, he did a good job squeezing it in that window, but, man, that was, any other time you might say maybe don't throw that one, but hey, they're confident in him. They know he knows what he's doing, so it was not a bad pass overall. They'll line up in the gun, 2 receivers left, 1 right, tight end on the right side as well. It's a low snap for Brenny. He's going to look. He's got a man, but just overthrew him, and that was, I believe, Kipka down there who beat the, nope, that was 16, I apologize, Dane Wheeler, who beat the coverage. And that's a touchdown, but Brenny just zipped it a little too much.
You almost got to wonder a little bit how much weather played into that. You mentioned that ball skipped a little bit when it got there. I think probably dry on the snap, but when it skips, it's hitting that moist turf a little bit, kind of looking at the lights out there, and you see a little bit of rain coming down now. And so it had to have had a little bit of an effect there.
So Foley will line up to punt here on 4th and 6 after 2 incompletions. And last punt was good. This one looking to be just as good as well. And it is, we've got a flag down. There's probably going to be a block in the back, and that will send the return back about 15 yards. It is up to the 36, but more than likely this is coming back. Did you see different?
That's kind of what it looks like. It looked like initially kind of a good block, but then you see the defender kind of get hauled to the ground, and you either get a block in the back or a holding type of situation right here, right in front of the official with that gunner. And it was a good coverage there by Foley, good high punt, but the gunner able to get all the way down there. Didn't catch the number. I think it was maybe Caleb Nicely, but pretty good push to be able to get down there and kind of force that defender to have to do that, because the return man under pressure just went ahead and took off with it, and it's kind of a dangerous play.
Yeah, very dangerous play, but it is ultimately going to work in Foley's favor because of the block in the back. So first penalty of the game will be on Annandale, and this will set them back to the, looks like 21, 22-yard line. They'll line up in the gun with bunch receivers on the top of the formation, lone receiver bottom. They'll line up in, the Wildcat. They'll send Horsch off the right side of the line. He is tripped up and then slammed down. That is big old number 73, Elijah Deeger, on the stop, but Horsch picks up about 4.
Annandale's going to keep trying to be able to push that up there, kind of beat you down a little bit. A lot of body blows early, and then try to be able to maybe stretch the field a little bit later, but right now, Foley doing a pretty decent job. The one, chunk play there on the touchdown, but otherwise, they've done a decent job kind of limiting what this Annandale offense has done.
Yeah, they've done a really good job, and looks like Annandale trying to spread them out a little bit, trying to get around that big interior. But so far, again, really, like you mentioned, good pursuit angles here for Foley so far. They're going to go right up the middle again, trying to get the running back to cut through a few holes. He manages to find it up to the 30, maybe just past the 30. That time on the carry, number 22, which is Cameron Ergen, and he gets to the 31. Officially, it'll be gain of 5.
And again, that puts him in a third and short type of situation. But on the flip side, if you're Foley, you get him in a third down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, third downs, you never know what can happen. You know, incomplete pass, anything like that. You know, but at the same time, you got to keep that positive momentum. You're giving up a little bit of yardage, but you got to stay positive about what you're doing.
Third down and short, they'll line up with a full backfield, and they'll give it up the middle to Ergen. Ergen's got just enough for the first down, and just enough. About 1.5 yards is what he got, and it's enough for a new set of downs.
Again, a good decent push up front by Foley to be able to get into the backfield a little bit, but a nice move by the running back to be able to get to the outside. Only needed about 1.5 yards, and he's able to fall forward just enough. But again, Foley didn't give up a ton of yardage, but enough to be able to get that first down.
3:33 to go on that Embrace Orthodontic scoreboard here in the first quarter. Annandale leads 7-0 on that Embrace Orthodontic scoreboard. They have 3 locations, Pine City, Lynchburg, and Cambridge. Full backfield once again, and they'll this time go with somewhat of a flea flicker, a kind of different-looking flea flicker. Pass is incomplete to Horsch downfield. Good coverage again by Wheeler. I thought they might get him for contact a little bit there. Looked like he had little bit of contact, but not enough to draw the flag.
I will say that the handful of games that I have seen that have more prolific air attacks to a certain extent, the officials are letting a little bit of jockeying for position, letting it go. I mean, if you're looking back and you're kind of fighting for it, they're going to let that go all day long. But they're kind of letting people battle for position just a little bit. Here at this high school level. And it's kind of nice to be able to see that, if you're a receiver, you got to go after the ball. You can't just wait for a flag and hope for it.
And I'm really pleased with how Dane Wheeler had that coverage. He used his speed to overcome what he wasn't able to get early on. Could have been a holding call deep, and now they're going to go deep again. This is going to be PI, though.
Oh, there comes the flag. I was like, oh, there's no flag.
Yep. Well, they could have had a holding on the offensive line. It looked like they were holding Deeger there. Didn't get called, and then he chucked it downfield because as their quarterback Koval came around the edge, looked like, it was close, but it looked like they had a hold of Deeger as he was trying to go for the quarterback, but they may have just threw him down, which isn't a hold as the NFL would like to call it, but it's a deep pass and unfortunately just got caught out of position. Now, this isn't a spot foul like it is in the NFL. This is only 15 yards. While it will be an automatic first down, still only 15.
And it was a good play to be able to throw it downfield, try to be able to get that yardage. Defender kind of working from the other direction, kind of turned around a little bit. There's a couple of flags you could have thrown on that one. You talked about the holding, but just before that ball was thrown, there was also one of the receivers kind of went downfield and cut towards the middle. One of the linebackers seen him cut and just laid him out.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
So you want to talk about maybe some illegal contact there as well. So there was a couple of different options. You could throw a flag on that one, but ultimately the PI is the call.
Quick up to line of scrimmage. Ergen, the turf monster, may have got him. And actually, no, that was one of the linebackers who actually tripped him up. Well, I guess he could be the turf monster because it is Halloween, and he was on the ground while he made that stop. That was Liam Bruflolt, who made the stop from an almost seated position. That's why it made it look like he just tripped over himself. But nice tackle in the open field to stop Ergen. Still picks up 8, but could have been more.
Yeah, definitely. Again, trying to limit those chunk yardages. If you're knocked down, you're not out of the play.
Ooh, and they're going to go with a quick screen. And, they catch Foley napping. But, the receiver's going to pay for making that catch. Gabriel Westman makes the catch and picks up a new set of downs inside Foley territory to about the 35. So it's a decent pickup there of about 9 for Annandale.
It's another one of those Annandale just trying to get the ball out in space, letting a playmaker make plays. Just sometimes it's as good as any type of running game. Just get it out into some open area. And Wheeler made a good play to be able to kind of slow him down, and then DeMars will put that shoulder right in the midsection.
There'll be a toss left here. They're going to cut it back up the field with a running back. He reminds me of Isaiah Pacheco running that ball. You can tell he's watched him a lot. Has that kind of stomping, mad at the ground type of run style. Isaiah Turner, number 41, the ball carrier for Annandale, picks up only about 2.
Again, another good pursuit up the line there by Kipka to be able to kind of seal that edge and not allow him to get to the outside. allowed the pursuit to get there, and a good pursuit it was as DeMars came from that safety position up to be able to bring him down for a short gain.
Good tackling is what I've noticed so far here from Foley. They are doing a really good job of pursuit angles as well, so as to not allow too many chunk plays. 2 receivers on each side of the formation. Shotgun here for Koval. He's going to take the quarterback draw, and he is wrapped up and swung down. That was a big play because if he slips, he is gone. But a nice tackle there by Mason Roski, who just got a hold of his chest plate and said, no, you're coming my way.
We talked about a couple of those names as we were just starting the broadcast, and that was just a bull rush from the outside, ran right through the middle, and just kind of bowled his way over to be able to get into that interior and just not allowing really any space to work with.
Not at all. That was a very good tackle. Although, I mean, again, if he does not make that tackle, he's gone. 3 receivers right, 1 left here in the gun. It'll be new quarterback.
I was going to say a different quarterback. Fabi came out there, and he is definitely not 6'4", 200 pounds.
No.
He's 5'11", 150.
Yeah.
And that's it with all the change in his pocket.
Right. So it looks like we will get a timeout here. Not quite sure who called the timeout. Either way, it is a timeout on the field. We'll keep it right here. But so Annandale with 1:13 left to go here in the first quarter leads on that Embrace Orthodontic scoreboard 7-0. And again, it looks like it will be Koval who will be on the sidelines for this next play at least. Yeah, they will go and try and have Braylon Fabi as the quarterback. Now, I'm guessing he might have a little bit more speed than Koval. So what do you be aware of here if you're Foley on 3rd and 12?
Well, I think you just make sure you don't let them get the easy over-the-top type of route. Keep everybody in front of you. Try to be able to just watch for it. I don't know what this backup quarterback has. I'm not sure why they've gone to him necessarily, but he's still out there. They must have some confidence in him to keep him out there. Whatever is going on. I don't know if it's an injury or what's going on, but he's not quite as tall, and so you can also be able to kind of stay strong and stay with your hands up as well, but just don't let anything over the top.
I would say look for more of a quarterback run or some sort of trick play, but they're just going to go with a pass. It is incomplete. Decent coverage, but a really good route on the back end there by that receiver, number 3, Cooper Broman. It was good coverage, but a really good turn at the top of that route. I think,
it was definitely a good turn. He was able to put his foot in the ground, be able to turn that curl right back in. And a really nice ball there by Fabi as well. He got to the outside, and I like what they did. We talked about not very tall, big guys in the middle, try to be able to get a rush on them. They move the pocket, just get him outside, get him on the edge, give him one receiver to throw to. I like the play call on that one. Just ball a little bit short and good defense.
So they will look to punt it away. Liberta is back deep to return. Annandale are going to play the field position game. And here's the punt. And it's going to be one that rolls. And, just a great job there by the gunner on coverage. Stops it right at the 5. They're actually going to mark it up at. Well, now he switches. Now they will be around the 6-yard line is where Foley will take over. So they'll have to drive the length of the field. But we have seen spurts from this Foley team here in this first quarter. But unfortunately, a few incompletions have kind of halted the momentum. But this Foley team is right in this thing.
Absolutely. It's only 7-0. We're still late first quarter, but this is not a game that's slipping away by any stretch of the imagination. They're right there. They have that ability to move the ball. Just got to get that running game going that we've seen from them consistently throughout the year.
I formation, 2 receivers on the right side of the line. My goodness, up the middle. He ran into that pile of bodies and completely dropped it. He lost it. Kipka, it's going to be a loss of 3. That could have been real bad.
And that is not something you see very much from Kipka. So weather, I got to believe, is having a little bit of an effect. Even if you're wearing gloves, sometimes it almost makes it more slippery. Try to rotate the ball in as much as you can, towel it off, anything you can to be able to keep that ball a little bit more consistently. But you're starting to see a little bit of an effect on some of the stuff going on tonight.
Now, Foley has been running it up the middle. We haven't seen too much of this Annandale defense. Do we possibly see Foley try to go outside with a couple of these runs and just maybe try and gash them on using their speed?
I think that you maybe try to get the ball on the outside, kind of like Annandale's done a couple of times, little quick hitters to the outside. Usually what you'll see is either Kipka or DeMars, they'll take it off of A-B gap, kind of inside between the tackles, but then bounce it to the outside with their speed at that next level, a linebacker level. And that's something Annandale's been able to limit so far. They haven't let him through the line very much to allow that athleticism to be able to take over.
Well, that is going to do it for our first quarter of play. So we're going to take commercial break, and after a word from our fine sponsors, we'll be back for the second quarter here at St. Cloud Tech in the Section 5-3A championship game.
Can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, man, I'm ready for the season.
Hey guys, you gonna finally let me in on the big hunt this year?
Yeah, sure.
Really?
Honey, there's a lot of preparation that goes into hunting.
Preparation, huh? Like,
Getting to almost yours gun and pawn and Mora so I can have the right gun, scope, blind, and stand. And no matter what caliber I'm shooting, Bob always has the right ammo.
huh, thanks boys. I went to Almost Yours Gun and Pawn. They have everything a hunter needs to be prepared.
Okay.
I do love Almost Yours Gun and Pawn.
907 Union Street, Mora.
The mushroom melt is back at A&W. How does this sound? Sautéed seasoned mushrooms and onions with melted Swiss cheese on your choice of a juicy burger or grilled chicken. Then add golden french fries and a medium soft drink. It's the mushroom melt and fries combo at A&W. Now, top it off with a classic A&W root beer float featuring vanilla soft serve and made fresh root beer, all in a frosty mug. Or how about the A&W root beer freeze? Signature combos and delicious treats always at your local A&W restaurant in Pine City.
Back here on KBK, nice 95.5 FM, Ethan Game Day Gilman, joined alongside by Andy Beckstrom here in the Section 5-3A championship game. Foley trails Annandale after one quarter, 7-0 on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Foley comes into this second quarter to begin it at 3rd and long from the 4, so there's not too many options here if you're Foley. You could be aggressive, but you risk a lot. You really risk Annandale being able to go in on one play from the 5-yard line.
Absolutely. You want to be able to put that ball out there and give your receivers a chance, but you don't want to be able to put them in a bad spot either.
Well, that is a good pass there from Brenny, but Liberta just dropped it.
It's a good route, but not a very good catch. Good ball by Brenny. Instead of that right over the middle type of slant route, ran that one just a little bit deeper, a little bit closer to the sticks. He brings that one in. He's likely either at the sticks or, kind of a shoulder away from being able to push his way to a first down.
Yeah, it would have been close. He may have, like you said, may have been able to kind of push his way forward, but it is incomplete. If there's any criticism, maybe it was a little too far out in front of him, but he got both hands on it, man. That's one where you have to catch it. Annandale going to bring the house, and they block it. No, they don't. They do get it away. It looked like it was blocked, but it's going to roll and be down at the 34-yard line. So, well, just considering what was coming after him and where he was at, getting that punt to the 34 is not terrible.
Yeah, especially high school kickers aren't going to get it too far out there, but it's a pretty good kick for what they're working with, as you said, kicking from his own end zone, right? Heels up against that back line, being able to get it out there.
So we'll be first down and 10 now for Annandale. Ball at the Foley, 34-yard line I said, so that is where they will take over. And now if you're Foley, this is the biggest test for your defense so far in this game. Short field, and you got to at least hold them to a field goal attempt.
Yeah, this is definitely a big-time possession here for both teams, but especially for Foley.
Foley gets a defender over there late on the receiver. Instead, they're just going to run up the middle with, it looks like Horsch, and Horsch gets it to about the 30, gain of 4. So gain of 4 there for Horsch. And that's the problem for Foley is, Horsch, a lot of times if Horsch is in the game, they're probably going to be running to him with the Wildcat. But Annandale has that ability to go out of the gun in multiple different ways and either pass or run the ball. So Foley, it's tough to call the defense tonight.
Yeah, definitely a tough way to be able to call the defense. And even getting just cues by who's coming in and out of the game doesn't really help a whole lot, as they have Horsch coming over to take the plays. We've seen that a little bit with Kipka in the first quarter as well.
He will take the snap. It will be a run with him again off the left side of the line. Good tackle, but he's able to fall forward for a couple. Again, about 2, so it will make it 3rd and 4 rather for the Annandale Cardinals, with that ball spotted right at the 28-yard line, and more or less the 29, but still it's going to be 3rd and medium now for Annandale. And Foley, so far so good. You got, I'm guessing Annandale, with how they've been playing so far, would go for a field goal attempt if they weren't able to make it here on 3rd.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit of a distance of a field goal, but their kicker is able to get a pretty good looking extra point. Not a lot of distance on it, but he's able to get something out there.
They will have Fabi in still. He's going to look to chuck it deep. He's got it on this right sideline, and it is caught. Oh, man. That's good coverage, but just didn't look back for the ball.
Liberta looked back. He thought that he was able to push the receiver off the sideline, but that is tremendous body control down that edge by Purcell to be able to go up and get that ball, but also be able to stay in bounds for a couple of yards even after that catch. And that's a tough play to give up if you're Foley, is they're just going to run one type of route. They're not doing a lot of double moves unless the play breaks down, but you got to be able to keep that over-the-top type of pass. That was on that previous down we had talked about.
Yeah. They will come out quickly to the I formation, and they'll run it up the middle with their fullback. Well, he's not so much a fullback, but he lined up as the fullback. He'll pick up about 3. That on the carry was Ergen, down to the 2.
There's a decent tackle there by Wheeler to be able to slow him down, but he was kind of coming around the edge and trying to tackle him from behind, which it's very hard to be able to stand somebody up and pull him backwards.
Very, very few players that can do that, just pure strength, but he was able to at least slow him down for his comrades to come in and make the stop as well. They'll then go quickly to the line of scrimmage. They'll go again with Ergen, and he's short. He's short again, maybe to the 1 or 2 yard line, but that's it for Ergen, and it's going to be 3rd and goal.
It's another nice play by DeMars. Again, being able to get a little bit into that backfield. Actually, I think it was 15 Rasmussen instead of 5 DeMars. But able to get into that backfield, get a good wrap on him. Good, again, you mentioned before, fundamental tackling, being able to slow him down, just stop that momentum to be able to let the rest of the team be able to rally around it.
It's going to be 3rd and goal from the 1. Quickly to the line. They'll have a lineman in the backfield to try and block for Ergen, and this time he does get in on the 1-yard touchdown run.
That's a good design play there. You mentioned bringing in the extra offensive lineman, kind of an extra fullback, kind of a triple backfield, if you will, and just giving an extra spot to be able to kind of just run behind and tell that lineman just get to somebody, put a hat, or at least force them to go around. It'll create the hole just even there. You don't even have to hit anybody. Just force them to go around you.
So it's 13-0 now, and they will line up for the PAT. Something to note is the Annandale starting quarterback, Koval, has not been in on this drive, so that it will be something to watch. Spot, snap, and just makes it over the crossbar. Good. Make it 14-0 on the Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard.
Not sure if they got a piece of that one or not, but not a lot of height on that one. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the difference now between Koval now to Fabi taking the reps under center. We've seen kind of that wildcat a little bit to a certain extent, kind of from both teams. I got to believe that, with the weather, they're doing that so that way it's not a snap to somebody that's handing it off to somebody else. You're kind of limiting how many hands. Kind of makes you a little bit one-dimensional. We talked before about when do you sneak that safety down.
Right.
How can you tell if, well, that's kind of a dead giveaway. If the quarterback's not even in the game, likely they're not going to be throwing the ball. But, that's something that you kind of got to make those adjustments when you got, weather like this and happening. And I don't know how bad it is. Maybe it's not that bad on the field, but I got to believe that the way the play calling has changed and some of the stuff that we haven't really seen most of the year is now starting to kind of, rear its ugly head a little.
Most certainly, and one of the things, too, you mentioned the pass game. I wanted to touch on that again because Annandale, you mentioned there's not a whole lot they're really doing. It's been 1 or 2 different routes. But it's also outside the numbers or right at the numbers. There's nothing over the middle right now for Annandale. It's at or outside the numbers, so Foley can really kind of roll the safety over to either side of the field if they would like to on defense. But they're going to get the ball back offensively on this Kettle River Pizza kickoff. It's a side swirling kick. Oh, it was taken in for a moment by Kipka, and then it's going to roll out of bounds back inside the 15.
That's a tough one there as the ball kind of went, I'm sure, twirling away from him, and you try to get there as best you can. I don't know that if it doesn't hit him, it doesn't go out of bounds or into the end zone, so he kind of had to do something with it.
Yep.
And it just, unfortunately skipped off his arm and, going out of bounds ends up with a tough field position once again for the Falcons.
Well, they're actually going to place it inside the 15, back at almost the 13-yard line, it looks like. So tough starting field position here for Foley. They'll line up in the I. 2 receivers left on the formation. Tight end will be right. Under center, they'll give it up the middle and gets an initial good push, and then he is stacked up, but gets up past the 15 to the 16-yard line, a gain of 3. I believe that was Kipka on the carry.
We still have 8:40 to go here in this first half, and I don't want to start making comments of have to or must or anything like that, but you start thinking that Foley's going to have to pick up, at least have to pick up a couple of first downs. I'm not going to say have to score, but they have to get on the other side of the field. They got to get some good push up front. And they got to be able to at least flip the field on this offensive possession to really get some momentum.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. They need to get something going so their defense can get at least a little bit of a rest. Nice move in the hole for Kipka. Then he carries the ball forward past the 20 to the 22. A gain of 6 there for Kipka after that initial jump cut right in the running lane.
And that was kind of what I was talking about a little bit pregame, that he's such an explosive runner. Yes, when he gets outside, but he's also tremendously explosive in small spaces. He works very well in traffic. And he didn't break it for something big, but you definitely seen some of what we've seen glimpses of in the last handful of games on that play.
That was a really good cut in the lane to run through. And now it'll be 3rd down and short. A little bit of confusion as to where people are supposed to be lined up, and 12 men on the field.
I think that we got the Foley coaching staff to our left here, because every time we've heard them get something going, there's definitely been something that Foley's been doing. The long touchdown they were saying, he's got to get over there, he's got to get over there.
Yep. Yeah, and that's unfortunate. There's a ton of confusion, and that'll back them up, so it'll be, I believe it's 5-yard penalty, so it'll make it 3rd and 6 now. And I think Foley, nope. Well, it's going to be an illegal substitution call, even though he could have called it both ways. But did Foley then call a timeout? Yeah, they did. So Foley calls a timeout because that, and I think right now that timeout isn't so much like, hey, we need to. I think it's so much as just, hey, guys, let's settle down.
Absolutely. This isn't a critical play type of timeout or anything like that. Exactly what you're saying. Like, hey, we're all right. We know how to play football. We played a couple of really good games, played really clean, did a lot of good things. We're doing a lot of good things tonight still. We don't have to. We got 3rd and 6 here. We don't need to get a touchdown on this play. Just move the ball forward, hopefully get that 1st down, then get another 1st down. Like, you don't eat the elephant in one bite.
Right,
you have to just get some chunks. And it's only 14-0. Again, even when it was 7, we're not in a blowout type of stage. You know, you got to start moving the ball, but don't try to do too much right now.
Exactly. So it'll be 3rd down and 6 for Foley. Ball at the 17-yard line. And they will go out of the gun. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Looks like tight end on the right as well. Running back to the right of the quarterback. He'll take the snap. He's going to throw over the middle. He's got a man, but it's well long. And that pass intended for the receiver, Dane Wheeler, but it is incomplete. And, man, he's showing off the arm there. That got to the 50 and beyond, but just overthrew his receiver.
And that's one of those plays that I was kind of talking about. Like, I'd like to see – I like the aggressive nature, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I would have liked to have seen him throw something a little bit, short, under, be able to get that ball out in space with Wheeler or Liberta. Let him make a move. Try to be able to see if you can get a 1st down with that. Maybe get Kipka on a little bubble screen, something like that. You don't need to get that home run type of shot on a 3rd down play.
Well, maybe do what Tech has done and throw more of a, like you said, that screen and try and get him and just use their athleticism. This punt not going to go well, but it does take a Foley roll to the 39. So not his best punt of the night. Unfortunately, it actually will wind up being his worst punt of the night, but still somewhat puts Annandale back. It will start at the 39-yard line. So Annandale will take over again after another 3 and out here for Foley, their 4th of the game. And out of those 4, gosh, there's probably 2 of them that probably should have been new sets of downs, but whether it be an incompletion or just missing the catch or a flag like we just seen, they've been set back.
Well, and we talked about that as well during the pregame, that you limit your mistakes, and that's what we've seen really be the difference in the game so far.
It's the senior quarterback, and he is walloped. What a hit there on the stop that time was Rasmussen. He nailed Koval. Koval gains about 2 or 3 yards, but he paid for it.
He comes over to be able to get the play, so staying in the game, and I don't know if it was an injury thing. Maybe it was just a matter of, like, we're going to give him a different look. I haven't seen Annandale yet this year, and so it's kind of interesting to see what all they kind of roll at you.
He will stay out there like you mentioned. It's 2nd and 7 now. 6.5 minutes to go. 2 receivers each side of the formation. Running back Ergen to the right. Koval takes the snap, and he'll keep it. And they'll go with a little bit of bubble screen here, but it is in front of the receiver, Broman, and that makes it 3rd down.
Parker David had decent coverage on this near side, but just not a very good pass there by Koval. He's looked pretty good throughout the course of the night tonight, but that one not his best throw, and now you see Fabi come in.
Yeah, that he was open too, and he was wide open, and now Fabi, you mentioned Fabi's going to check back into the game. I wonder if this is more of just riding a hot hand at this point.
Yeah, and that's – you try to do what you can. You see some teams go quarter by quarter. Sometimes you go play by play, and it's hard not to get in your own head when you make one bad pass and you can't come back to it.
Foley's playing a little off coverage. They got to just stay at the sticks. They're going to try and throw a deep pass, but he was hit on that throw was Fabi, and that pressure provided. Is that 30? It is. That's 35.
Nicely.
So nicely with the hit on the quarterback's arm to force that one well incomplete. That brings up 4th down, and we've seen Annandale punt in this sort of spot before. They were a little bit further back, but we've seen them in this spot before. They are going to punt, so they're going to play field position. Foley's going to get another chance.
That's a really nice play there defensively. With the defensive coordinator or whether it's a head coach Dahlstrom, dialing up that pressure coming from the outside nicely, did a great job just forcing him to let go of that ball well before he wanted to.
So they will punt it, and back at the 50, he will officially punt it at the 35, and it's into the end zone for a touchback, so that ball will come out to the 20. And, I mean, for any puncher, that would have been tough to try and get inside the 10, especially on a night like this where the field probably just enough rain out there to where that ball hits at the right angle, it's going to slide and take off.
And I'm trying to read at least the rain where it's falling, but I feel like there's more wind kind of pushing that direction, just the way we've seen punts kind of wobble coming, heading north. That one going south just sailed on him, a little bit into the end zone.
So the first 3 and out here for Annandale tonight. Now can Foley put some together? They were in worse field position last time. This time at the 20, it's just about, again, holding on to the ball if you're making a catch or not shooting yourselves in the foot with the penalties. They'll have 4 receivers in the formation. It'll be a direct snap to Kipka. Not much doing on that play, maybe a yard. And, Andy, on those plays, I like the idea. I like the play call. I like having a direct snap. But sometimes I feel like with it being in the gun, you're almost set back too far to get up to the line of scrimmage because Annandale's done it. While they haven't gotten through the line of scrimmage real quick, Annandale's done a good job of at least clogging up the holes. And I feel like sometimes on a play like that, it almost takes too long.
Well, and that's kind of like we were talking about a little bit about looking one-dimensional. If you're direct snapping to a running back that doesn't really throw the ball, yes, as a running back, you get that space to be able to see where the holes develop, be able to get a little bit of blocking up front, figure something out. But at the same time, as a defender, you see that, and linebackers are already filling those gaps.
It'll be 2nd and 8 and fumble, and he does pick it up, but he is wrapped up back inside the 20 at the – they're going to spot him at the 4. I thought he – now knows the ball sit on the 15, so that's where we'll call it. So it's a loss of 7.
And that's, again, one of those that you see that direct snap to the running back. I don't know that they called a blitz necessarily, but I think there was 3 linebackers coming.
Yeah, that's it's tough for anybody to try and concentrate when you see those guys at the line of scrimmage, and there's about 7, 8 of them at the line of scrimmage. It's not easy to concentrate, but if you're Foley, again, shooting yourselves in the foot, and now you're left with a 3rd and long, and unfortunately, more than likely going to punt unless you break something off here, but we just haven't seen any chunk plays so far. They want to set up the screen, but it's covered real well. Kipka does make the catch, but he's going to be taken down just past the 15 at about the 17, 18-yard line. Maybe even the 19 is where they'll spot him. So they do pick up about 3 on that screen, but that is it.
Good job sniffing that one out there. Nice play there by Keenan Grube on this near side. Being able to run down Kipka. They kind of forced a little bit of a high throw, but Kipka able to come down with it on a really nice catch.
Yes.
But again, good coverage. I like the play call. I like the idea, but really good coverage there by Annandale, being able to stay home and stay true on that.
Well, I like that because it's better than chucking it deep on that type of play where you wind up with an incompletion. At least you get a few yards here. You still kind of keep your offense with a little bit of confidence, and you set up a few yards deeper downfield for maybe a better punt, and this is going to wind up being a okay punt. Actually, it's going to bounce at the 50, and it's going to roll for Foley back inside the 45, so that works out in a good way.
Yeah, definitely, and we've seen a couple of good punts and a couple of not good punts, and that one from Rudnitsky is a pretty solid one there, and of course the good roll at the end there. For a second, I think that the deep man there, Newman, was thinking about it, and we've seen that a couple of times from Liberta last week where he took a ball, and I'm like, really, you're going to take that there with somebody right in your face? But he thought better of it, like, maybe, no, you're good. There's too many things that can go wrong if you do something like that.
So Horsch will be the man who will bring in the play call. He will obviously get the direct snap. And we haven't – now it looks like they're going to – is that a lineman to his right? I think that's one of their bigger fullbacks or / lineman to his – it is. And so he's going to lead the way. So basically an extra fullback out there, and, well, it works out because they pick up nearly a first down to the – well, where are they going to spot him? Well, they stopped at the 49, then went a yard forward to – well, now another yard forward. They're going to spot it at the 47, which is inches short of a first down.
That's good pursuit there by Parker David down the line. But, again, when the line of scrimmage is 7 yards deep in the defensive backfield, it's kind of tough. You limit the damage to a certain extent.
Yeah, 9 yards there for Horsch, and he'll be the man again. Again, they've got that lineman / fullback to his left. He's wearing a lineman number. That's why I say it's a lineman. He's wearing a number 51. It'll be a direct snap. They'll go to the left this time and trying to get to the edge, but Foley just can't get there. Better blocking, and Horsch is able to get up past the 45 to about the 43-yard line. It's another good pickup that time of about 5-6 yards for Horsch and a new set of downs.
And I think this is maybe the strategy here for Annandale and the coaching staff, and I kind of like it to a certain extent. You've shown that you can stop their offense when you're on defense. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side of things, just keep possession of the ball, keep running the ball, overload one side, force them to bring everybody over there, maybe create some cutback lanes, but you keep the ball and you run the clock. If you win 14-0 or 60-3, it's still a victory. And so I think they're just trying to, let's just get out of the half with 2.5 to play.
Fabi is going to throw. It's another one of just those simple comeback routes. A first missed tackle on the night for Foley allows the receiver to get up to the 30-yard line. A gain of 12 that time for the receiver, Purcell.
Kapinski on that outside had him in his sights, but Purcell just had a nice little move to be able to get kind of a jab cut or whatever, and Kapinski went for the feet but just couldn't hold on.
Well, we've seen Fabi check in. It's an immediate pass. I wonder if now he's more or less in to be the guy to throw the ball because they're going to roll him out again and look to throw. They've got a man on the out route. He does make the catch, tries to stop on the sideline, and he's escorted out of bounds at the 25. That catch there by Isaiah Turner.
Nice little pitch and catch. I think that they really like Fabi kind of on the move, get him outside of the pocket, give him one receiver to be able to throw at. I don't know that you're going to run a lot of exotic routes. I don't know. There's a lot of exotic routes in high school anyway. But you're not going to do a whole lot downfield. You're mostly just going to, all right, here's your one shot where you're just going to, kind of like down and out, just a little out cut, in cut, whatever it may be. This is your, per se, hot read. Get your feet set and throw it right to them.
Two receivers on each side of the formation. We've got a whistle and a timeout now for Annandale, so Annandale's going to call the timeout. So while they take a timeout, we will as well. We'll be back in 30 seconds here on Nice 95.5 FM KBEK.
Are you tired of long commutes to the Twin Cities to work in the HVAC field? Dale's Heating and Appliance in Pine City is now hiring full-time installation and service technicians to join their growing team. Dale's Heating and Appliance is an established Lennox Premier dealer looking to expand their business. Benefits include competitive wages, health insurance, paid vacation, paid holidays, 401k, and more. Submit your resume to daleshvac@yahoo.com or visit Dale's Heating and Appliance in downtown Pine City today.
Back here on KBK, Nice 95.5 FM. We're out here at St. Cloud Tech High School for this Section 5 3A championship game. Annandale currently leads on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard 14-0 with 2:01 to go in the second quarter. Other than a few chunk plays for Annandale, we really haven't seen a lot of offense here tonight. And this team, again, scores nearly 50 points a game. And Foley has done a pretty good job defensively as well.
Yeah, and that's what I've tried to kind of mention a couple of times. If you're a Foley fan checking in, 2:01 to play, they can get out of this without giving up any points or whatever. 14-0 is actually a pretty dang good half against this Annandale team for anybody.
They will line up in the gun. They'll have a few screens out there, but this time they'll get it to Purcell. He breaks off of a tackle, gets forward, and is near the 10. They'll spot him, looks like at the 13. So another gain of 12 there for Purcell. And I mean, looking at the routes there for Annandale, pretty much the same thing. A lot of just underneath routes. That one more or less a deep slant route there for Purcell, and he makes the catch in front of the defender. Quickly up to the line of scrimmage. They'll go with a full backfield. Did we get a false start or someone outside?
Foley timeout.
Foley timeout, all right. So now Foley will call timeout. Obviously, here, Andy, they're trying to hold them out of the end zone. You've got a minute 37 to go. You're what are you telling your defense? Because right now it's more or less, we got to stop them.
Yeah, it's kind of a bend, don't break type of situation. I don't know that I'm tremendously impressed with the Annandale kicker, so just try to be able to limit him. And then I was actually a little surprised that Foley took the timeout there that stops the clock, because you kind of want that to keep going unless you think you're going to give up points and you want to get the ball back. But you kind of want that clock to be able to keep going and try to be able to limit what they're going to do. When you get close in here, when you talk about slant routes or quick routes, that's all that you can really do. You can't throw a deep route here. So you can play a little bit more press coverage, a little harder to be able to throw the ball. You can actually bring in those linebackers and be able to fill those gaps a little bit better and try to be able to limit what Annandale is doing. But you have to be able to keep points off the board right now if you are Foley.
Do you at all, if you're Foley, I know you said you can't really do deep routes. The ball's at the 13, but do you watch at all for the fade here, just trying to get the guy past the defender, 2 steps, shot, or is that something that maybe ain't in the playbook as we see a fumble? And did Foley recover it? They say they did, and they did!
They did. Oh, hey, they kept him out of the end zone.
Yeah, they did. They certainly did. Well, just as I was in the middle of talking, they went and quickly to the line of scrimmage at Annandale, and they wind up fumbling on the play, and Foley gets it back.
Just kind of a botched handoff. Bobby wanted to be able to put that ball on the outside and let his guy go, and I don't know if it hit off an elbow or if it just slipped, what it was, but that ball ended up on the ground quickly and then diving after it were the Falcons.
So they get on top of it. Our first turnover of the night, which is a little bit of surprise with that rain, but Foley is the one who gets it. 2 receivers left. I formation behind the quarterback. Maybe looked like he may have bobbled that snap a little bit, but they give up the middle here to the fullback. He nearly lost it at the end, but he trudges up past the 20 to the 21. That on the carry that time was number 20, Liam Brufloat.
Yeah, just kind of a little change of pace back there, trying to be able to give a little bit of a spell with Kipka and DeMar, some of those guys that typically would be back there. Maybe kind of thinking that, minute 10, are we going to just let the clock run out? We did our job defensively, just kind of let things go. But then you get a guy like Kipka and DeMars that are playing both sides of the ball. There's a lot of guys playing both sides of the ball, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, when you got some of your high possession type of guys, give them at least a play off maybe.
2 receivers left. Again, I formation. They're going to give it to Kipka. Kipka runs right into the linebacker, and he is swung down. Maybe gets it to the 25, so a gain of 3 for Kipka, and that brings up 3rd down and short. Now, 30 seconds. Is this a case where you get the first down, or do you even run a play? What's the idea here?
I think you maybe try to run the ball. I guess I didn't see where the play clock is in accordance as far as when they actually went down, but I don't know that you have to run a play here at all.
Looks like they are 1 second ahead or 1 behind, so they do not have to, and it looks like they might not. Yeah, it looks like they are not going to, so they are satisfied going into halftime here. So the Foley Falcons will head to half down 14-0 to the Annandale Cardinals, but Andy, like you said, I think that is more or less of a win.
Yeah, obviously you want to be able to get points on the board on the other side of the ball, but at the same time, to be able to limit the Cardinals to just 14 points with that prolific offense and everything that they have the ability to do, you've forced them to be able to rotate in different quarterbacks. You've forced them kind of to be able to do a lot of different things that they probably aren't necessarily used to doing. Weather might be playing a factor. There's a lot of things that play out there, but at the same time, 14 points at halftime, you're right in this ball game. You're a slip tackle, which with weather can easily happen. You're a ball to the outside for a receiver that's got a little bit of room away from, being able to tie this ball game up.
Absolutely. Well, we will take a commercial break, and after that said break, we will be back and return for our Hones Auto Body and Glass halftime show here on KBEK at the Section 5-3A championship game where Annandale leads your Foley Falcons 14-0.
Arrowhead Transit, your community, your ride. Arrowhead Transit is proud to support this station and bring you reliable public transportation in your community. Whether you need to get to work, school, or the doctor's office, our friendly drivers and comfortable buses are here to serve you. We're committed to connecting communities and making transportation accessible for everyone. Arrowhead Transit is your community partner in getting around. Arrowhead Transit is a supporting sponsor of the station and is dedicated to supporting our local communities.
Mom's Parkside Cafe in Pine City proudly serves breakfast skillets, scratch-made buttermilk pancakes, famous big cookies, and bread pudding with homemade caramel sauce. Enjoy home-style hot sandwiches made with real mashed potatoes and gravy. Voted Pine County's best breakfast, best lunch, and best soup and salad. This quaint cafe is owner-operated with a small-town feel. Stir in family and a sprinkle of hard work to complete the recipe for this award-winning cafe.
Order up! Mom's Parkside Cafe. Open Monday through Friday, 8 till 2, and weekends, 7 till 2.
A jewelry store.
Nada.
Then it's a thrift store?
Nada.
A pawn shop.
Nada. Another Man's Treasure is not a lot of things. What it is a place to find gently used power tools, hand tools, tires, fishing and hunting gear, motocross gear, and a ton of other cool stuff. Stop by and sell your gently used items, or buy something at a fraction of the price of buying it new. Another Man's Treasure in Becker, Princeton, East Bethel, Rice Lake, Wisconsin, or North Branch. Or visit Another Man's Treasure on Facebook and see what came in today.
Rush City Auto and Standard Auto and Classics in North Branch invite you to check out their 2 full lots of quality used vehicles. They've got a car or truck for any size budget. Get your next vehicle from a local dealer with a great reputation. Rush City Auto and Standard Auto and Classics in North Branch are going to put you into a vehicle that you will love at a price you can afford. For more information, visit rushcityauto.com to view up-to-date inventory. Rush City Auto and Standard Auto and Classics. Quality used vehicles, rushcityauto.com.
Oh no.
Oh, man.
Don't worry, Hones can fix you up. Butch, Christie, and the crew at Hones Auto Body and Glass have over 44 years of experience repairing vehicles from accidents and damage due to hail. In fact, they've got a huge state-of-the-art facility in Mora, are I-CAR and ASC certified, and certified in aluminum repair and welding. Plus, Hones is recommended by many insurance companies. Hones Auto Body and Glass. In Mora, Hones. They'll fix you up right.
Guy Fieri's Flavortown is now available at your Freeway Holiday Station store in Pine City. You know, Guy Fieri of Food Network fame is rolling out some of his favorites like the mac and cheese burger, sweet heat chicken and waffle, jalapeno potato nuggets, and candy chaos cookies. And you can only get these at your local Freeway Holiday Station store. Flavortown is rolling out now. Guy Fieri's new Flavortown at the Freeway Holiday Station store in Pine City. 'Cause you gotta stop somewhere.
Here's the pitch.
Here's the pitch in North Branch, the area's premier indoor batting cages and training facility. Coaches, when you need space that's air conditioned or heating with enough room to get in some team training, book Here's the Pitch. Fixing swings, catchers using the state-of-the-art machines, breaking in bats, whatever the team needs to dominate next season. Let Here's the Pitch elevate their game. Here's the Pitch in the North Branch Outlet Mall.
Kettle River Pizza is a proud supporter of sports teams and community organizations. Local groups and teams across the state have had amazing success with Kettle River Pizza fundraising. From sausage and pepperoni to chicken Alfredo or the hot Hawaiian, the cheesy deliciousness practically sells itself. Visit kettleriverpizza.com to schedule your next fundraiser. It's so easy to get started. Got a pizza craving now? Pick up a Kettle River Pizza at your local grocery store or convenience store today.
Honeymoon, here we come! Where's our car?
It's been stolen.
We'll call our insurance agent. I'm right here.
Oh, hey, Jen. You got our invite.
Love the dress.
Are we covered for this?
Of course. That's why you chose auto owners. We work together to get the right coverage. So when the unexpected happens, you know you're covered.
That's simple human sense.
Your local auto owner's agent is Pine Insurance Agency. Visit them at pineagency.us today. pineagency.us.
Back here on Nice 95.5 FM, KBEK, Ethan Game Day Gilman, Andy Beckstrom out here at St. Cloud Tech High School for the Section 5-3A championship game. And at halftime, the Foley Falcons trail the Annandale Cardinals 14-0. We are in the midst of the Hones Auto Body and Glass Halftime Show. Hones in Mora has state-of-the-art facilities and 44-plus years of experience getting vehicles back on the road. Andy, before we talk about the stats a little bit, what were your initial thoughts on that first half of play?
Well, I think it was kind of a half that, really kind of made us sound smart, I guess, to a certain extent. A lot of the stuff we talked about during the pregame, that you have to play smart, you have to keep control of the ball, you have to not shoot yourself in the foot, you have to place, not make the mistakes. Don't make the big mistake. And try to start fast and try to be able to, stay on the scoreboard. I think that Foley did a good job being able to limit what Annandale did on their first drive. I'd like to see them maybe be able to get a little bit more offense going, but it's very tough against that Annandale defense. But you could tell after they got that stop on that first possession, hey, we're all right. We can do this. We can slow them down. Really, the first touchdown that they scored was just a big chunk yardage play that they were able to get to the outside that was more of a coverage break more than anything, a nice open field move by Annandale. But otherwise, just generally speaking, I don't know, it was kind of an impressive first half. And, the couple of mistakes that, Foley had, kind of a couple of penalties. And then, of course, the fumble, they didn't lose it, but they still lost yardage with it. They take advantage of the Annandale fumble before the half to be able to keep them off the board. But at the same time, like you almost have to play a perfect type of game to be able to beat a team like Annandale.
Yeah, you really do. And you mentioned it. I was really impressed they were able to get that fumble to hold Annandale off the board to end the half. And I think that will wind up going a long ways into this second half for Foley, because that could be the difference. I mean, that could be the difference in them winning by 7 or 21, or Foley getting back into this one. And as much as it's easier said than done, they need to try to use that as some momentum here going into the second half. Taking a look at the stats from the first half, Annandale had a total of 68 yards of offense, 17 carries, 51 yards rushing, and 1 touchdown. Between the two quarterbacks, they were 6 of 12 for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. It was Braylon Fabi who led the team with completion percentage, 4 of 6 for 53 yards, but it was Koval who had 64 yards on 2 of 6 completions. Leading the way receiving-wise was Purcell. He had a lot, in fact, most of the receiving yards, over 100 yards on the night already in that first. Again, and you mentioned it, the catch that he had was basically that breaking coverage where he was able to just use his speed on the outside. For the Foley Falcons, not much doing offensively. They had 12 carries for 22 yards, and then they had 12 for 22, and then they were 1 of 4 for 3 yards passing for 25 yards total offense. Kipka carried it 9 times for 14 yards, and that was pretty much it here in the first half. And we seen, Foley has this speed, but they haven't quite yet been able to go to the outside, or at least haven't drawn up the plays to go to the outside. And I wonder, with this speed, is that something that they're going to start to do in this second half, or is that something more in the first half where they're just trying to feel it out, and with it being a little bit slippery, they just didn't want to risk it?
Well, and I think to a certain extent, I mean, obviously you don't want to say that you only have 25 yards of total offense, that you're holding something back to a certain extent, because you want to try to hold something back if things are working, obviously. That way you have something to hit them with in the second half. But I think, in a way, the way your defense was playing and limiting them, maybe they kind of changed the way they're doing their offensive strategy, that, hey, we're not going to show them everything. We're going to save some stuff for that second half. Then we can hit them with a couple of explosive plays, be able to get the ball to the outside like you're talking about, be able to get some people into some space, and be able to get some good chunk yardage, get something going with that. And I think that I would definitely anticipate seeing some of that in the second half, pitch plays, something like that. Pitch play to the wide side of the field. Let Kipka be able to, be able to get some movement out in space. He's so elusive, and he's such good vision and quickness with, being able to put a foot in the ground and change directions, that it'd be nice to be able to see him do that. He does a really good job when he's in traffic, but get him to the outside, get him a little bit of space. It'd be interesting to be able to do that.
Yeah, you mentioned the short area quickness is one of the things that he excels at, and we've seen it there in the first half, albeit he only gained a couple of yards, but still he was able to show it off a little bit. We had 3 penalties in the first half, 2 for Foley, 1 on Annandale, 2 penalties for a total of 20 yards for Foley, 1 penalty, and it was that 15-yarder block in the back for Annandale. The Falcons had that one fumble there right before half. We've seen a couple plays from Foley. Then they decided, you know what, we're just going to take this to half. So that is really it for the first half. There, as much as there was scoring, there's just not a ton to talk about here in this one. It's more of a defensive battle between these two teams, especially when you look at Foley scoring nearly 50 points a game. But again, we mentioned for Foley, that's a win here at halftime, but they still have some things that they want to get going in this second half. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about what Foley needs to do in this second half to get the victory, what adjustments maybe they made here at half, and then we'll also look at some scores from around the state of Minnesota in section championship football here this evening. Here on the Hones Auto Body and Glass halftime show. We'll be back after word from our fine sponsors on KBEK.
A jewelry store.
Nada.
Then it's a thrift store?
Nada.
A pawn shop.
Nada. Another Man's Treasure is not a lot of things. What it is a place to find gently used power tools, hand tools, tires, fishing and hunting gear, motocross gear, and a ton of other cool stuff. Stop by and sell your gently used items, or buy something at a fraction of the price of buying it new. Another Man's Treasure in Becker, Princeton, East Bethel, Rice Lake, Wisconsin, or North Branch. Or visit Another Man's Treasure on Facebook and see what came in today.
Arrow Building Center in Siren is your leading name throughout the Midwest with trusted brands for your building supplies and services. Arrow Building Center has been providing contractors, homeowners, and do-it-yourselfers with quality products and expert service for all projects, big and small, for many decades. No matter the size of your next project, Arrow Building Center is at your service. And don't forget, free, yes, free delivery, always. Stop on by Arrow Building Center in Siren, conveniently located off Highway 70, or visit them online at abc-clc.com.
Need a prescription or medication advice? Wellia Health's community pharmacies in Mora and Pine City are open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Our friendly pharmacists are here to answer your questions and to help with prescription transfers. Call us at Pine City 320-322-5141 or Mora 320-679-3999 or visit welliahealth.org.
Hi, I'm Samantha.
I'm Ebony. I'm Megan. And I'm Alicia.
Together, we're Dapper and Divine. Whether you're looking for bold color,
fresh cuts, or laid-back vibes, we're all about hair that feels like you. At Dapper and Divine, we want you to leave our salon feeling confident,
fun, and effortlessly gorgeous.
There's always room for you at Dapper and Divine. How would you like to get a brow wax for free? Mention this ad with Annie Coloring, free brow wax all month. Dapper and Divine, on the corner of Main Street, Pine City, across from the Bottle Shop.
Hey, Mark, I spent about $3,500 on heating this last winter.
Whoa, sounds like you need to switch to a central boiler outdoor wood furnace, like I did.
A wood furnace? That sounds like a lot of work.
No, not really. I have my wood delivered, and with a large firebox and a central boiler outdoor furnace, I usually just fill it once a day.
Whoa, that sounds great.
I heat my domestic water, garage, and I'm saving a ton of money every year.
Well, where do I get one?
Northland Boiler Sales is your local central boiler sales dealer. Visit northlandboilersales.com.
Finding that missing shin guard, remembering whether it's a home or away game, getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple so you can worry about more important things, like not being that fan.
Oh, come on, ref!
That's simple human sense.
Your local auto owner's agent is Pine Insurance Agency. Visit them at pineagency.us today. pineagency.us.
Hi, Rob.
Hey, why have you been so happy lately?
It's because I no longer pay for hot water.
What? You have 4 teenagers that take all-day showers. How do you not pay for hot water?
Well, I put in a central boiler outdoor furnace that heats my house, my garage, and now I have virtually endless free hot water.
Wow, that's great. With my 10 kids, I'll really save some money. Where do I get a furnace?
Check with your local central boiler dealer, of course.
Northland Boiler Sales, your local central boiler sales dealer. Visit northlandboilersales.com.
And we're back here on Nice 95.5 FM KBK at the Hones Auto Body and Glass halftime show. ICAR and ASE certified Hones Auto Body and Glass in Mora is recommended by insurance companies. Had an accident? Let Hones Auto Body and Glass fix you up. So I'm Ethan Game Day Gilman, joined by Andy Beckstrom. And Andy, let's first go quickly over some halftime adjustments. What are those adjustments here for Foley? And then we'll get into what they need to do.
Well, I think that the biggest thing is not really even more of an adjustment, just telling everybody, like, hey, you're fine. Don't try to do too much. play smart football the way we've played all season long, like we have the last handful of weeks. A couple of mistakes were kind of back-breaking type of mistakes that they had in that first half. Adjustments, I think you want to make sure that you keep that coverage over the top. I think that's probably the biggest thing. We've seen 2 big chunk yardage plays on both touchdowns. One for a touchdown, the other one set up the other touchdown. That both of them, I think it was Fabi throwing it deep, being able to get it to the outside. And one was just a broken tackle and kind of a busted coverage to a certain extent. The other one, just a beautiful catch down the sideline. But again, over-the-top coverage basically allowed both of those plays to happen. And I think that that's where, if you can – the way things are going tonight, you're seeing direct snaps, Wildcat style, to the running back. They're not throwing it.
Right.
Quarterbacks in the game, they're throwing it. It's kind of predictable to a certain extent. So if you're a safety, you kind of have to be able to stay back. Maybe you roll an extra safety back there if it's an obvious passing down. Whatever you can do, but you can't allow that over-the-top state. Maybe bite on that first move if it's going to be there, but you have to have that safety coverage over the top.
You most certainly do, and like you mentioned, it's pretty clear what teams are doing here, especially from the first half. Running backs have been a huge part of the first half. I believe for Annandale, they might have even taken more snaps at quarterback than the quarterbacks themselves. It's pretty close to even, and for Foley, although not quite as many as the quarterback, it as well has been close. So in the second half, though, what does Foley need to do to overcome the slow start, to get by this defense, even if it's a long drive that takes them into the end zone? What is it that they need to do to finally get into the end zone?
Well, I think that they need to do what they've done on a handful of drives at times. Get what you can on yardage. Pick up 3-4 yards on every play. You have to stay plus yardage. You can't have the mistakes, drop ball, anything like that, where all of a sudden you're losing 2-3 yards in a play. You have to stay plus yardage and stay ahead of the sticks. And the big thing, and we talked about it in that first half, you can't eat the elephant all with one bite. Get a first down. Start with a first down. When you get the first down, let's go get another one. But you don't have to worry about getting the first down on first down. Run the ball, get what you can, keep it positive yardage. Second, third down, get that first down, move the sticks. Keep that momentum going, and eventually you'll end up in the end zone. You keep getting first downs all the way down the field. But you have to build little things, getting that ball moving forward. And I think that's something we see a couple of times where all of a sudden NAB, all right, they're going deep down the field over the middle, ball falls incomplete on 3rd and 5.
Yep.
And you want to take your shots. Don't get me wrong. You want to push the ball down the field, try to be able to get that defense moving, but at the same time, you also have to play smart and just take what's there.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And one of the things that I want to say, too, is Annandale's been getting up the field pretty quickly. So for me, when I look at this for Foley, I think, okay, maybe we work the screens a little bit more. Get Kapinski into space like you were mentioning. Not Kapinski, yes, but also their main guy, Kipka as well. Try and get these guys into space and maybe catch Annandale being too aggressive. Maybe you go with maybe a counter, a reverse here and there, just to see if Annandale's going to continue to be aggressive, and maybe you can't catch them napping on one of these plays, and there's the chunk play that you're looking for. So I would like to maybe see it. Again, I think you need to get a first down, right? I think that's the key here to begin this third quarter is get a first down and then maybe go to those plays. But hey, if it takes 12 minutes to score, it takes 12 minutes to score. Then you're down only by 7, and then all of a sudden it becomes a new ball game.
I got to take a brief moment here. I had a friend of mine check in just a little bit ago, checking in from Totino Grace. He does PA work down there.
Cool.
One of the greatest PA guys that I've ever known or whatever. Did a lot of hockey with him back in the day when the Owls were a thing in Asani. Tremendous guy. He was just checking in there or whatever, and so you had to say hi to Dave on that one. So
awesome. Love our PA guys. Meanwhile, the second half Kettle River Pizza kickoff is over, and it is taken in at about the 12 here. He's going backwards. He's got to get upfield, and, he just gets back to where he started with that return. On the return that time was Von Murphy, and, he misplayed that ball. Again, I think that field is just slippery enough to where that ball, when it hits, it's not taking the normal bounce. It's slipping.
Yeah, it's more of that scoot, if you will.
Yeah. So Foley, sadly, will take over at their own 12-yard line. Now, again, they've been in this spot before, but it's really not ideal to be in this spot to begin the second half when you want to jumpstart your offense. They will go out of the I. They're going to roll out right here. And, again, I feel like Is that no? Oh, he was out of bounds.
I don't know whether or not he came up with that one. It was pretty low, and it may have skimmed in there. But I like that play. Just kind of a little short route. Again, we talked about getting it outside, getting it in space. For a second, I thought Brenny was just going to go ahead and take off with that one, but then that linebacker came up in a hurry. Man. But that's a I like that play call. It just didn't quite execute on it.
Yeah, I really like that play call as well, and I was with you. I thought he was going to take out, but then that linebacker came out of nowhere, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw it off to somebody. Just let them try and make the play. The I formation again, receiver wide at the bottom of the formation. They'll give it here to Kipka. Kipka bounces off for one tackle. He's got some room to run. Oh, my goodness, and then his knee is bent backwards. Oh, my good God. Oh, he's okay. He flips back.
He just rolls right
Wow, okay. Cool.
That made me cringe pretty good.
Wow, that was. I thought we were going to have a bad injury, but wow. First of all, what a run by Kipka, and then the hit at the end, and he just backflips over it. No big deal. He's fine. Ball is at the 23, excuse me, after that 11-yard gain. So, again, 11 yards, and that's how things start. I formation again. They're going to go back to Kipka off the left side of the line. He's got a good gain again, up to the 30 for 7.
And this is what I was talking about in the first half. You're going to get a good heavy dose of Kipka. If you can get a little bit of an opening at the line, he can do some damage on that second level because he's just so quick through the hole and quick with his feet.
What I've noticed, too, is they're kind of almost going with counter motion with the O-line. They're sending the O-line straight down the right side, and they're having the tight end and left tackle make the hole on the left side of the line for Kipka to run through. So Annandale really doesn't know where the play is going right now. Oh, we had movement. And a little too excited by the right guard trying to get up, look like to the second level early, but it'll be a false start penalty, and that'll be their third of the game, so it'll be second and 7 now instead of the 2nd and 2.
That's a tough penalty to be able to take. I mean, it is only a 5-yarder, and 2nd and 7 isn't the worst thing, but that's some of those mistakes that we were talking about, and Leisure's got to be smart about that play and not go too, I know you're excited, but you have to stay within yourself.
Yeah, that's one of those where, as a lineman, it's unfortunate because, a lot of times you're only getting your name called if something like that happens. Did he catch that ball after getting decleated like that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, he had it in his hand, so I wasn't sure if he maybe caught the ball, but that was a dangerous pass.
The good news is it was also forward, too.
Yes.
He got hit, and if that would have been backwards just a little bit, those passes down the line get so dangerous.
Yeah, that ball intended for Von Murphy, and that was an ouch pass because, man, he was lit up. And it is, I don't blame him for dropping that one if I'm being honest. But that's one where, and that's where these passes too for Foley, it feels like they're just not quick enough. It feels like right now Brenny is just kind of hesitant on these throws, and then they fumble. And he's just looking to get rid of it, and, well, that might be a flag as well. We'll see. We'll wait. I think they're going to talk about it. Because I don't know if that got back to the line of scrimmage, and he certainly wasn't out of the pocket.
And I think that's what the Annandale coaching staff is looking for. They got all their hands up and asking for an explanation on that one. But that's another one of those, again, you get the first down, you start getting that momentum, but then the mistakes start to creep in. You get the penalty, you get the incomplete pass, which incomplete pass isn't necessarily a mistake, but the penalty – and then the dropped snap on the shotgun, you just can't have plays like that against a team like this.
Wow, a really late conference about this. I don't know if they shouldn't have let this play go because Foley was ready, and now they're going to conference about the call. Andy, what do you think about this? Because Foley's ready for the play, and they were ready before this conference took place. I know they're talking about the flag, but this seems a little late.
Oh,
my goodness, now. Wow. I don't know, Andy. That seems a little late.
I like that they got together to be able to do it, but if you're going to get together to talk about it, you should have done it right away.
Yeah.
What that says to me is that the official was just going to move on with it, but then the coaches were able to kind of talk him into it, and that's what I don't like. The officials have to have control of this game, and it probably was a penalty.
No, yeah.
It should have been a flag, but that flag has got to either happen right away or before Foley comes up to the line.
Yeah.
As an officiating crew, it looked like they were going to try to get together, but then they just spotted the ball and moved away. Like, you have to get together right away on that one. And I don't like to harp on officials because it's a tough job and not enough people to do it. But that's one of those that, like, you got to be able to get that right away. And this is a tough one here for Foley. Another one where you're punting, heel up against the white line.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is tough to call a game. Don't want to harp on him too much, but probably should have let the play go. And there's going to get a holding in the end zone. Yep, safety. Is it going to be now, Andy, that's a good question as this punt has only returned a few yards. That's holding in the end zone while the punter had the ball. Is that still a safety, or is that different? I've never seen that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, usually, it's the safety if you're holding with the quarterback, and I got to believe until possession has fully changed where the receiver actually catches the ball, I got to believe that that's still going to be a safety.
That's what I would think, too. That's kind of what my thought was, but we'll see. I mean, that was clearly holding in the end zone, and I agree with you. I think until the possession flips, that's a safety, and it looks like it will be.
Because in theory, the punter, until he actually boots the ball away, could be a quarterback.
Yep. So they're going to get holding. They're going to get safety. Oof. Well, I mean, now, Andy, we talk about this. Foley just got momentum on that drive with a big couple carries by Kipka. Holding set them back. Then a incompletion where his receiver almost got killed. Then a fumble that set them back, and then an intentional grounding because he just tried to get rid of it, and then a holding in the end zone for a safety. You talk about momentum completely, you losing it, and then Annandale taking it. That's one that could honestly put this game, I don't want to say out of hand, but that's the direction it could go.
And it's right now it's going to put, in my mind, a defense that I feel has played tremendously in this ball game. It puts a ton of pressure on there because now it's 16-0 and you're giving the ball away on a free kick, and you have to be able to get a stop on this one and start getting that momentum built on offense. Like you said, you're able to get a little bit going, but those mistakes, again, uncharacteristic of Foley because they have played so clean over the last handful of weeks that we've seen them in games against Malacca and Spectrum. And granted, I will give you, Annandale is a much different beast than a team like Malacca or Spectrum. It's a much different animal. But at the same time, an offsides penalty, you're moving forward. It wasn't like he was trying to get the extra jump to be able to move back against a defensive end. It was clearly going to be a run ball because he was moving forward on that one. You can't have that, a exchange on the snap. You have to be able to get, take that deep breath and just get a good snap. Calm your nerves, calm yourself. And again, I don't think anybody's trying to do too much on that, but you have to play within yourself.
Yes, yeah, and that's one where I think where Foley, they're starting to get excited, they're starting to feel it, and that's one where the offensive lineman's like, okay, now I know I can beat the guy across from me, so this is going to be kicked away from the 20.
And I thought you had to free kick that, but maybe it's different.
Yeah, I think it
might be. High school, you get the option or something. But
maybe it's different in high school, but they're kicking from the 20. I mean, well, this is a switch field position, and it's taken in at the 35 of Annandale, but he's got room to run on the sideline, and he's wrapped up past the 50 to the Foley 40-yard line. So, again, Annandale going to start with good field position. So now if you're Foley's defense, you have to be, one, you have to be the aggressor. Two, you have to come up with the stop here because a touchdown here, well, it's not going to do it by any stretch of the imagination. But momentum-wise, mentality-wise, that could be a big-time nail.
Yeah, you don't want to, say do or die possessions when you're, 10 minutes into the third, left in the third quarter, just underway second half. There's still a lot of game, but at the same time, momentum is such a huge thing. And we talked about it going into the halftime break that Annandale, they don't care if they win 16-0 or if they win 73-0. A win's a win.
They're going to go with that heavy set again and just get, there's the illegal, why can I not think of that? The block below the waist.
The chop block.
Thank you. They're going to get the illegal chop block out in front on this run. They, again, overloaded the right side. That's just where they went with the jet sweep. But the blocker out in front got a chop block on a Foley defender, so that's going to erase the big run. And they'll get number 15 on it. So It'll be the chop block that is the call. It'll be a 15-yard penalty. So, again, erase the big run for Annandale, and now they're set back at the 48-yard line. So Foley has to now pounce on this.
I was just going to say the exact same thing that you had just said, that Foley has to be the aggressor. And now's not the time where you start playing, all right, we're going to rush 3, drop, and we're going to just kind of play, kind of underneath coverage. Again, you can't let him beat you deep.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to keep pressure on. If you get him behind the sticks like this, you have to get that pressure in the face of the quarterback and limit what they're doing.
Now, we haven't seen Koval throw since that first quarter. So I think that also kind of gives Foley a little bit of advantage, as if to say, hey, now we can send some people here because, well, we know Koval hasn't thrown the ball, but then you also risk him going over top. And now Annandale's going to call timeout. Annandale's not quite certain right now, so there's a little bit of edge. I don't want to say Foley, but they've kind of, with the last 2 plays, Annandale's kind of shot themselves in the foot, and this has kind of evened itself back up.
Yeah, and that's, we talk about the mistakes, and it's all about how you take advantage of those mistakes. And at the end of the first half, Annandale, for the most part, took advantage of those mistakes, but, Foley able to get out of the half with that fumble at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Foley had a couple of mistakes. They had to punt. Annandale, now a mistake there. Who's going to take advantage of that?
Yes.
That's going to be the difference in this ball game, and Foley has to be able to do it. And I have to make sure to kind of rein myself in maybe a little bit with some of the Foley fans. I'm not trying to harp on them too bad. I'm not trying to be too angry because I'm not trying to coach them down. But it's more so a matter of Foley has such a golden opportunity right here. They have and they're a good enough team.
Yes.
The way this game is being played, Foley legit has this chance. I'm not just trying to blow smoke and try to make the game sound exciting.
Right.
They're right there in this ball game. They have the tools to be able to do it.
So it'll be 1st and 15, 2 receivers on each side of the formation. Koval is looking to throw on the first time since the first quarter. He's under some pressure. Looks like he's going to take off with it. Instead, he throws it downfield. It is caught.
Again, get it over the top.
Yep, and that time the defender can't quite tell.
Kipka.
I think it was a Kipka? Okay.
Yep.
So Kipka got beat, which is kind of rare with his speed, but now he's down on the sideline at around the 15-yard line in some pain. I didn't know if maybe he came down a little hard on his shoulder, but it looks more or less like a leg injury. And he's able to get up on his own power and walk to the sideline, but he's in some pain.
Yeah, Purcell, a little kind of a wheel route kind of out, and then once the pressure was on, he just kind of cut it upfield. And we've seen it. He was even with the Vikings a couple weeks ago. Well, you probably didn't see it, but just trying to go upfield. You get to the sideline, then cut upfield, and trying to be able to get him up there. And Kipka kind of got eyes caught in the backfield a little bit, and we talked about you can't let him get over the top on you, and you got to keep that pressure on. They brought the pressure. They had a chance to be able to force him to the outside, but they just kind of let that over the top play.
33 yards on the pass and catch. They'll now go up the middle, but Foley says, no way, Jose, and they stop it after a gain of about 3 that time. Not a lot there for the ball carrier, Ergen. As I mentioned, maybe a couple on that one. And it'll bring up 2nd down and about 7. So again, Foley unfortunately gets beat deep, and Kipka's still out. They'll get to line of scrimmage quickly. Again, full backfield. They're going to toss it right here on the receiver screen. Back and forth he goes. If you're Foley, simply put, you've got to just come up and make that tackle. He's dancing. Go and get him.
Yeah, and why you're playing off coverage this deep in, you have to. They've done that play 4 or 5 times. They've thrown it to the outside. If they're running a play deep, they're running a play deep. They're not trying to do anything cute. You have to be able to play some press coverage. And if you see that quarterback just turn his shoulders right away, come upfield and go after him right away.
Ergen going to get the carry, but again, a nice tackle, trying to pull him back. And they managed just to keep him out of the end zone. They're going to spot him at the 2-3 yard line, Ergen on the carry. And again, coming in from behind was Mason Roski. Again, wrapped him up and tried to pull him back the best he could until reinforcements got there and stopped him for only, a 2-yard gain.
And they're keeping him out of the end zone, but at the same time, it's a tough, we talked about it a couple of times, it's a tough tackle to make.
They'll get to line of scrimmage quick again and take the snap right back to Ergen, and this time he is in. So Ergen from 3 yards out is able to score his second touchdown of the evening. But that, again, is going to now make it 22-0. And this, all of a sudden, while it is 22-0, but it's a 3-possession game now. And Foley, to get back into this, they have to convert every 2-point conversion after the touchdown if they were to score.
And that play there, he was stood up just before he got to the end zone, but it was a shoulder tackle. And Ergen's a good enough back that he's just going to bounce off of that, roll to his left just a little bit, and fall into the end zone.
So the PAT attempt. Snap, spot, kick, up. Good. So 23-0 now for Annandale. And even though it's 23-0, Foley still has a chance. And their defense has been strong enough at points, but it's been the short field now in these last couple of touchdown possessions for Annandale.
Yeah, and again, you clean up some of that stuff, but you have to have some momentum built on offense on this possession. You absolutely have to. I'm now going to officially say this is a must-build type of possession. Obviously, ideally, they come away with points, but even if you give it up on downs, you have to be inside the 30 of Annandale. You have to be in plus territory. You have to be on that side of the ball with this possession. You can't have another possession where it's maybe a first down and then things fall apart. You have to be able to string together a solid possession right here.
Yeah, they have to get a few first downs, whether it be 3 yards in a cloud of dust or whatever it is. They have to put together a drive where they're getting a few first downs, getting past the 50 here. Give their defense a little bit of a rest. Yes, most guys play both ways, but for those who don't, they need that rest. This one, they're going to let it roll into the end zone.
The good news is Kipka is back out onto the field for Foley, so be able to see him out there, which is huge news for Foley fans. But, again, you have to be able to get some momentum. Otherwise, if you're Annandale, if I'm coaching staff on the Annandale side, we've seen him throw the ball, get it to the outside, try to do things like that. I'm not putting the ball in the air a single time. If you're able to get a turnover, a 3-and-out right here, you're never putting that ball in the air the rest of the night.
It will be a run. They'll give it back to Kipka. Kipka lowering the shoulder, but he spun backwards. No gain. Well, they're actually going to give him a yard, so he did get the forward momentum.
Cam Helget able to get into the backfield from a linebacker position, be able to wrap him up. Again, sure tackling. We talked about that before, that Kipka is so good if you don't if you arm tackle, if you don't get him down right away. And I will give all the credit in the world. Foley's played a pretty good game. They've made some mistakes, what we've talked about, but Annandale they're the real deal. They are playing clean, and they're playing smart.
They'll go 3 receivers left, 2 right. Man in motion now left to right, was Kipka. He's going to stay in and block, and the quarterback got absolutely hammered. This is going to be intercepted now. A good return, but he's going to be pushed out up at the 10. And, for Brenny, that's one where he's just under pressure trying to make a play happen, and, well, unfortunately just didn't get all of it on it because of the pressure.
And Brenny got hit on that one. Kipka had seen the blitz coming. They kept him as you mentioned, but he took the inside guy, but the outside blitzer came free right to him, and that ball over the middle. Heck of a catch there by Ryland Horsch.
Yeah.
Be able to pick that ball off, but, Annandale's got a lot of pressure coming up front. They did bring some heat on that one, but Foley just not able to pick up that pressure as it gets in the face and causes the turnover.
Well, they are now inside the Rush City Auto Red Zone, and they didn't even have to do anything offensively. Rush City Auto Red Zone, proudly brought to you by Rush City Auto in Rush City. They now have 2 locations, one in North Branch, and that is called Standard Auto and Classics. 2 locations means 2 lots of quality used vehicles. Visit rushcityauto.com to view the inventory. This time on the carry for Annandale, up for maybe a yard, if anything. In fact, he might have lost one. He did. That was Isaiah Turner. So it's officially 1st and goal because that nose the ball sat on the other side of the 10. So it is 2nd and goal from the 11. And they'll line up with the heavy backfield and Foley jumps, so 5 yards.
And that's something that it was only a matter of time to a certain extent because Annandale liked to rush to the line and snap quick. And so that was kind of this is a 4 or 5 play buildup of we're going to do it. Okay, now's our chance.
Yep.
And we're going to get you to jump. And about 5 guys jumped.
Yep. Almost the entire D-line jumped, and it's unfortunate for Foley. I was thinking that earlier in this game, like, man, this might be a place where, Annandale's able to go up and get them to jump. And, if I'm being honest, if Annandale wasn't, the powerhouse that they are, I'm surprised they haven't jumped yet on that type of play, because that can be easy to do for them, too, to jump on offense. But it'll be 2nd down and goal now from the 6. They will line up with 4 receivers in the front. They're going to put this ball in the air, Andy, against your advice, but it is a wide open Purcell. And, well, when he's that wide open, you can't miss him.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately still a good play design. And, I think maybe for Annandale, that's just kind of like, let's just put the dagger in there, put the nail in the coffin. And I'm not saying it's the full nail in the coffin. Still 6:09 left to go and an entire 4th quarter.
Right.
But at the same time, the way that Annandale's defense is playing right now, the uphill battle, the angle has increased.
It certainly has. And there's no reason that Foley can't make it a game. But like you mentioned, I think that the hill too much to climb from this point on, as the PAT is up, and it is good. That makes it 30-0 Annandale on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, a proud sponsor of our scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, with their board-certified orthodontists, are committed to providing world-class orthodontic care. They'll also leave you with a smile you'll embrace forever. And your customized smile journey starts with a free consultation. The team over there wants to make your journey as seamless and convenient as possible.
Ethan, I think you got a little bit of clout over at the station. I need you to bring something to the sales team.
Okay.
Because we have so many wonderful sponsors, so many great sponsors, and they're amazing, and I appreciate everything that they do.
Yes.
But can we find a couple of them that have just, like, awful food or something? Because I'm having to listen to all these ads of, like, the amazing burgers at A&W. Just so many good options that they have out there. I appreciate all the sponsors, but oh my goodness, I'm always hungry by the time I get done with the game.
I agree. I'm 100% on board. I will talk to them. Let's see if we can't get some bad tasting food on our sponsor sheet, so we don't get as hungry during the game that we're calling. I don't know about you, but every once in a while my stomach grumbles and I'm like, ooh boy, maybe I shouldn't be calling this game.
Yeah, and I appreciate all them, and it's such great not only great sponsors, but the great food that they have.
Oh my gosh, we've got in our local area, whether it be from Malacca to Pine City or up from East Central down to North Branch, maybe some of the best restaurants in the area. I mean, we just have some great food in our local listening area.
Absolutely spoiled.
Yeah, we really are. Meanwhile, the kick is away on this Kettle River Pizza kickoff, taken in just behind the 15-yard line for Foley. It is taken up around the 25-yard line, but a flag coming from the behind the kickoff team. First of all, nice arm by that ref.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I wonder if he's available for like a flag football team or something on the weekends.
Wow, what a throw. I think they got illegal formation or offsides on Foley. So it's a 10-yard penalty. Yeah, I'm assuming illegal formation. Couldn't quite hear him. The wind picking up just a little bit got into the referee's mic. That's one thing I do like about section championship and state tournament football. You get the mics on the referees, and you're able to hear them a little bit better rather than maybe just guessing.
You're kind of hoping for the best that they give the right signals.
So the penalties from the end of the run. So back inside the 20 to about the 18.
They move the ball back about 2.5 yards.
Well, Foley, now we're going to try and get those 2.5 back and maybe more on this drive. I'm not quite sure what that play was. They do get it to Kipka eventually, and he gets up to about actually where they were going to start the drive from. But that looked a little bit awkward from Brenny to Kipka on that handoff.
Well, and at this point in time, it seems like it's such an awkward handoff, and it seems like it's such a delayed handoff, and it might be just regular speed generally. But at this point of the game, the way that Foley's offense has struggled to be able to throw the ball, Annandale's just pinning their hair back and getting after him.
Well, nice throw here by Brenny. It's going to be only his second completion, but this time going to get it to Rasmussen. And what a throw there from Brenny. He stepped into that one, and it was on a frozen rope to Rasmussen all the way up to the 35.
And that's the play that we've been looking for all night long. You know, you have Dane Wheeler, you got Liberta, you have Rasmussen, you got receivers out there, but we've seen a couple of drops, and we've seen some pressure. Ball thrown a little bit behind, but that one there, that's where we had seen in the pregame where we were talking about they have a solid to serviceable to solid passing attack.
They're going to run it again with Kipka. Kipka looking like he's okay after going out with a injury a few drives ago, but now we've got a couple of players down, and it looks like they might have been just going after the ball late there. So Kipka on the carry picks up about 2 or 3 yards, and it'll be second down. 4:50 to go on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard here in the third quarter. Foley trails 30-0. And we seen Foley on that last play go no huddle. I kind of liked that. And thinking of that, I mean, why not? You got nothing to lose at this point. Looking for the bubble screen. Instead, they're going to go with the slant. More of a curl route, and he's got it up the field that time to Carter Liberta, and he has it up to the 50, gain of 13.
Again, that's getting that ball to the outside, getting it in the hands of your playmakers, just over the top of the outstretched hands of a linebacker that was trying to get into that lane. But a good job by Brenny to be able to kind of put a little air underneath down and get it out there. And again, just hitting him in the numbers and letting him make a play.
You know, when Brenny has had time, he has made some really good throws, albeit in some tight spaces. He's really done a good job to put just enough air under it to zip it. I mean, he's done a good job reading this. Oh, Kipka has a chance. He breaks off of one tackle, gets near the 40 before he's taken out at the 41. Oh, Kipka. Annandale's lucky because they almost gave up a big 50-yard scamper by Kipka, but Kipka was just able to be slipped down by a defender 8 yards quickly for Kipka.
Yeah, big burst there by Kipka. And again, we've talked about it numerous times. Foley has this in them.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to put it together. And unfortunately, the interception and the touchdown is kind of maybe it might be a little bit too late, but this is the Foley offense that we've kind of been able to find.
This time give up the – oh, no. Well, they gave it up to the fullback, and he fumbled, and he's gone. Purcell picks up the fumble. He returns it 60 yards for a touchdown. Oh, my goodness. Brufloat had it, a first down at the 30. And I don't know if a defender got an arm on it or if it's one of those cases where he got a little careless and he just – I mean, it flew forward nearly right into Purcell's arms. And Purcell, nothing but green in front of him, and takes it back 60 yards.
Yeah, there was not much that they could do once that ball popped out, but that's just an absolute backbreaker. Aside from the score, you start seeing it. We start talking real excited about the way that they're moving the ball, and this is the offense that we're looking for. And then the mistakes. Now a couple of turnovers, and they've had the ball on the ground a couple times even beyond the turnovers, and it's just been such a tough night out there.
Snap spot down on the PAT. Kick is up, and it's good. So 37-0 Annandale now on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. And man, oh man, right when things started to get going for Foley, a fumble happens and destroys any and all momentum. And that's their second turnover here in the third. And, well, we talked about it kind of getting to a point where kind of getting close to out of hand, but not quite. That touchdown pretty much does put it out of hand.
Yeah, that just an unfortunate play. Again, back-to-back turnovers that have resulted in points. You know, the one, obviously, Annandale had to run an offensive play. But, you know, you can't have – you have to play such a perfect game against a team like Annandale, and you start getting that momentum, and you start getting kind of excited, and – then you have something like that, and all the momentum in the world, regardless, like the air's got to be out of the sails, and for a lot of those guys, just kind of a ugh.
Yep. Yeah, it is really unfortunate the way it has gone here in the second half for Foley, because, I mean, if we're being honest, this is a game they probably could have won with it the way it was at halftime, but ever since – Annandale, and it's not that Annandale's just playing that much better. It's kind of Foley more or less shooting themselves in the foot, sadly. Meanwhile, this one going to be taken in at the 10, up towards the 25, broke off of one tackle, and then taken down just past the 25. Good return there by Vaughn Murphy. Gets it up past the 25-yard line to about the 26, and that's where Foley will take over.
And to your point, I want to make sure that I clarify that even if Foley does play that perfect game and they have none of those mistakes, there's a good chance that Annandale, the way they're playing tonight, might still win.
Right.
It might be 7-0.
It very much could have been. So,
but at the same time, you put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
And, again, you give all the credit in the world to Annandale for being that team.
Foley will start with a pass. Brenny has an opportunity. He's got his man on the sideline up past the 35. A good throw, but an even better catch that time by Rasmussen. That's going to be a catch of about 12 yards up to the, maybe even 13, up to the 39.
Again, just a nice pass play, just getting it to the outside, letting Rasmussen turn upfield and get what he can out of it. You don't got to go deep. You don't got to go crazy. Just get that ball outside of the box.
And they're doing a really good job of the outside receivers taking a lot of the guys with them, so they just have the underneath route wide open, right up to Kipka. Kipka's got a lot of room to run. He makes a man miss again at the line of scrimmage. I mean, I remember when Adrian Peterson was cutting and dancing before the hole, and sometimes he'd benefit from it, but Kipka, I mean, my goodness, the way he is able to cut in that short area quickness is, I mean, that is a talent that not a lot of guys have in this state, and he is one of very few.
Absolutely. It's just tremendous being able to handle the ball and, like you said, work in space and be able to make some people miss.
Gain of 9 there for Kipka. Receiver on each side of the formation, the I. They'll give it back to Kipka. Kipka again in that short area quickness. Just cuts right to the left to make a defender miss. Gets up to about the 46-yard line. And it is a gain of 6. Gain of 6 there for Kipka and a new set of downs. He had 14 yards carrying in the first half on 9 carries. Now here in the second half, well over that total and just under that amount of carries as well. I formation, 2 receivers left, tight end right for Foley. Brenny under center. He'll give it to Kipka. Kipka right up the middle. He's going to carry a defender forward for about another 6 yards. Gain of 7 for Kipka again on that one. And Kipka is starting to heat up here, albeit late in this one. But, hey, whether it's late or early, he's starting to heat up, and good for him.
You're starting to see some different numbers now rotating in on that Annandale defense. It's not a complete shift over to a complete JV defense, but at the same time, you're not seeing all the starters that have been out there all game. Like, you got Purcell over here with his helmet off. He's probably done for the night.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, even if you don't get back into the game, this is a pride type of moment.
Kipka breaking tackles left and right, cutting, starting at one side of the field, then cutting back to the middle, then cutting all the way outside. Breaks about 2-3 tackles on his way up to the 26-yard line. A gain of 15 there for Kipka.
And that's, again, just having pride in what you're doing. We're gonna get down the field. We're gonna prove that we can do it. We're gonna score. We're gonna try to at least feel pretty good about what you're doing.
Kipka will return next year, so he's kind of putting it on the books for next year to say, hey, I will be our guy next year again, and let's not forget about running this ball.
And as I was just kind of going through that list or whatever, making a couple of little marks there. They have overall 16 seniors. Everybody's going to have seniors. They're going to graduate. It's just the nature of what's going to happen. It's just, every year teams change a little bit. But for the most part, you bring back a decent amount of that offensive line. You bring back Brenny. You bring back Kipka. You bring back DeMars. You have some skill positions. You got some. Whoa.
Wow. Kipka is he's playing angry, to say the least. If we had video,
instant replay would be used.
Oh my goodness! Not only would we'd be overplaying it. It's hard to interrupt you, but wow, Kipka! There was a blitzer coming up the middle. He laid him out, to say the least.
Well, and that's why I stopped. I wasn't even going to let. I was like, nope.
Wow. Although the pass is incomplete, we're more impressed with the block by Kipka. That was impressive. And now
slipped and went down.
Yeah. Kipka,
just a tough. Again, the moist field, trying to be able to get to that edge and trying to put your foot in the ground, and gives out just a little bit.
Yeah, he lost 2 on that carry. He's going to cut it up, and he had a little bit of something to work with, and with the way he's been running here as of late, probably could have made a lot more happen. But that is going to do it for the third quarter of play here at St. Cloud Tech. We'll be back after word from our fine sponsors here on Nice 95.5 FM, KBEK.
Your journey to a smile you'll love forever starts at Embrace Orthodontics. The team at Embrace is committed to providing world-class care and a remarkable orthodontic experience. Choose between custom Light Force braces or Invisalign clear aligners. With locations in Pine City, Lindstrom, and Cambridge, and a plan to fit your budget whether you have insurance or not. Embrace Orthodontics will make your smile journey comfortable, convenient, and customized just for you. Visit EmbraceMN.com today to find out how to set up your free exam. EmbraceMN.com. Embrace Orthodontics. A smile you'll embrace forever.
Mille Lacs Health System has been standing in partnership with their patients for over 65 years. Their mission is to assist those residing in and visiting the Mille Lacs area in achieving and maintaining optimal health. Mille Lacs Health System providing urgent care and emergency services on their main campus in Onamia and family medical care in Onamia, Isle, Hillman, and Garrison. They salute the youth in the communities they serve and wish them good health and good luck.
Back here to begin the fourth quarter of play, and sadly, because of the 35-point difference, 37, it will be running clock, unless Foley is able to score here, but it is 4th down and 12. So we'll see what they do. I formation, 2 receivers right. Brenny will line up under center. He's going to look to throw. He's got a man at the first down line, and he's got it to him, 1st down. Oh, he's just short. Well, let's see now. No, he did get it. So that referee on the far side, he stopped, got a yard short, and I was like, wait a minute. But then he went forward to the 21 or the 16-yard line, and it is a 1st down catch there made by, who was that? Was that Liberta?
Liberta. Yep. And so you talked a little bit about Kipka coming back. Brenny comes back. They get 3 out of their 5 offensive linemen, but they do lose Roski and Leeser, who are some of the bigger guys on the offensive and defensive line.
Kipka with a nice cutback lane, gets inside the 5 and all the way down to about the 4 before he stopped. A gain of 12 for Kipka, and it's 1st down and goal for Foley.
Foley also graduates a little bit of their receiving cord in Dane Wheeler and Carter Liberta on the year. Some of the notable starters, but the 16 seniors that will be graduating. But Foley's got I think they've got a bright future.
They do. They're going to give it up to Kipka. Why not let him finish off the drive? He's going to come up short on that one. Actually, you're only going to give him a yard on that carry. We're a little bit at an angle here in the press box. We appreciate St. Cloud Tech allowing us to be here and the region secretary for this spot. But, our seating is at a little bit of an angle, so it's tough to 100% tell what yard line they're at. But it will be 2nd down and goal here for Foley. Kipka, been kind of a bell cow on this drive. He's done it pretty much all, but the receivers have also helped out, especially on that last 4th down play. Liberta making a big catch on the sideline. They're going to give it back to Kipka, and this time he is in untouched. Kipka with the 2-yard touchdown to get Foley on the board. That will stop the running clock, and Foley makes it 37-6.
Tried to work off that left side, tried to be able to get a good push by that offensive line, but then they also sent DeMars and Rasmussen kind of from a wing to be able to get some extra blocking out in front there, and just had a little open cutback lane to be able to jet in and get into that end zone.
Well, they will go for the PAT with Ben Sheffers. Sheffers will ready. Here's the snap, the spot, the kick is up, and it is good. 37-7, the Falcons get on the board here in the Section 5-3A championship game against Annandale with a 2-yard touchdown run from Kipka as they were inside the Rush City Auto red zone. Rush City Auto and Standard Auto and Classics in North Branch. They are going to put you into a vehicle that you'll love at a price you can afford. Go find your next ride at rushcityauto.com. Well, I think one of the biggest things here for Foley is, one, the seniors, their starters are going to play this entire game, but also they were able to get the goose egg off the scoreboard, and that is a thing of pride, especially against this Annandale team. They're averaging only giving up 4 points per game. They have their biggest points given up was 10 to Holy Family Catholic this year. Foley's darn near there, and I'm sure for Annandale, that's a pride thing that they want to hold on to as well. So if you're Foley, you're going to want to try and score more than these 7 points to kind of take take that a little bit of pride away from Annandale.
And it's probably going to be a handful of, substitute players, maybe some underclassmen getting a little bit of playing time. Maybe on both sides of the ball, maybe Foley does go after it a little bit more. But at the same time, to your point, I think that, you got to try to hold your head high. A couple of mistakes and you're right in this ball game. But you got to be able to play clean.
Well, not a good tackle that time. We've talked about Foley being able to tackle real well all night. That time they were reaching on the return as it was taken in at the 15, and the returner that time was Cooper Broman, and he was able to slip up to the 35, cut it back out at the 40, break off a tackle, and then carry one forward before being tripped up at the 47-yard line of Foley. So a good return there that time for Annandale. That'll set them up in plus field position as we just are into the fourth quarter, 10:39 to go. As it will be number 16 now, the new quarterback. That'll be Grady Miller. Grady Miller is a 6'1 junior. I'm guessing he and, if I can find the page, there we go. Fabi will be the quarterbacks next year, probably going 1-2 like they do with Koval. Give up the middle to this running back who will wear number 8, and that is Ben Rubnik.
I think one of my favorite Annandale players tonight has been this number 75 right here. He's now up closer to the line, but he's spent probably more time over here by the here with his feet and his legs than he has really been even watching the game at all. That's probably where I'd be too, So I don't blame him at all, but it's been kind of funny. He's a sophomore offensive lineman, so I'm not going to call him up by name, but been kind of funny to be able to watch him. Everybody's up at the line, but he's over here just kind of warming his feet up.
Hey, why not? I mean, it's chilly out there, man. I don't blame him either. They'll line up with 4 receivers. He'll take the snap, and it'll be a fake. He's going to keep it here. He's got some wiggle to him, and he's going to get up to the 40 before being slammed down on the shoulder by DeMars. But a good gain up. Well, they're going to spot him. One is at the 41, one's at the 40. They'll be officially at the 41, so a gain of 5 that time for the quarterback, Miller.
Annandale, it's always impressive. I mean, you have a plan when you have your starters, but now you're going with basically, mostly of JV or almost a full JV, but they're still subbing in 4 or 5 guys on every single play.
Right.
And being able to do that and not have too many or just having a plan, I give the coaches and staff a lot of credit. They've had, I think, probably a couple of moments during this year that they've been able to run that defense out there, or that JV squad out there. But
whoa. Foley. He was, Miller is going to lose a bunch. About 3-4 yards, but he was, swung backwards. Someone came in from behind and just like a slingshot just pulled him back. So he lost about 3 that time, did Miller on the carry. It'll be 4th down, and Annandale will punt.
Special teams is always kind of a weird one, too, where you probably get most of the starters back out there just because you're just picking 11 random people that may or may not know where to go.
Yes.
And so you kind of have to have that starting special teams.
Yeah, that's one where we might see the starters for Annandale, but that's pretty much it. He's going to do a hop, skip, and then a punt, and it'll be taken in. Good job on that return. Well, not return, but just receive there by the returner, Liberta, in taking that one in because, again, while the rain has stopped, it is still a little bit slippery on the field. It's not fully dry, so for him to be able to take that one in and with the defender right there, that's pretty impressive. That's not easy to do. Punt return is probably one of the more scary jobs as a football player.
I think it's underestimated, too, because that ball, it wiggles weird in the air when you're trying to be able to bring it in. It's coming at a different angle. It's not just being a receiver. You got to be able to track that one in a certain way.
So here comes the Foley offense. It will be the starter still. They'll give up the middle, and well, he didn't have a lot going, but then he shook his shoulders a couple times, grinded his way forward, and that time on the carry was Liam Harris, the fullback, for a couple.
And we start to kind of maybe start looking at you want to try to get at least the seniors for sure as much playing time as you can. Harris, a junior, but you start seeing previously Tyler Thurston with a big hit out there. Is some of those guys that you want to get the seniors some playing time and be able to have them, walk off the field in their senior matchup.
I just can't get over Kipka's running and how well he is able to jump cut. I mean, that is not something that comes overnight, folks. That is something he's been working on for a while, and he does it so smoothly. That is, I don't want to over-exaggerate, but that's a college-level cut.
Oh, 100%. And that's what we were talking about during the pregame, that it was going to be just incredible to be able to watch him run, and that says so much about the Annandale defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of runner that they've been facing, and they basically bottled him up in the first half.
I mean, he has just done so well, but yeah, you mentioned this defense for Annandale, 4 points a game. That's easy to beat. They're going to try and go deep. Off his back foot, Brenny into double coverage. It is incomplete. We're going to get a flag, and are we going to get PI here on the defense?
I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to the flag.
Right.
Per se, but at the same time, they haven't really called that all night.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a different type of call, I guess, in my mind on that one. There was some contact down there and some jockeying for position, but it looked like they were both kind of going for the ball.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know. I don't know if that should have been a penalty, but hey, Foley gets a first down out of it, so I guess we'll take it. So Foley gets to keep the drive alive on 3rd and long after that. Chuck downfield was incomplete, but erased it because of the penalty. So they'll line up I formation. 2 receivers right, 1 and the tight end left. Brenny under center. He'll do the quick screen here on the right side. Caught it at the 40. Nice cut back to the 45, up to the 50, to the 49. On that catch and run was Jordan Lewandowski.
And a really good block out there on the edge by Liberta. Just trying to use that bubble screen, trying to get a little wide receiver screen to the outside and get a block. And as you mentioned, a really nice cutback and a nice move to be able to get a few more yards upfield.
He is practicing with Kipka on those cuts. That was a nice cut. Although, I'm wanting to see the fake slide. The Pitt quarterback in the bowl game with that fake slide to get the touchdown. I'm waiting to see it in high school. I'm surprised we didn't after that. But meanwhile, on the carry, no gain that time, right up to the line of scrimmage. Good open field tackle there by Annandale.
Solid fundamentals on that side of the ball. The Cardinals doing very, very well tonight. And I don't know, you never know when you get to, the state level, you're facing that much stiffer of competition, but this is a pretty well-rounded squad.
It really is, as now Brenny will take the snap. He'll roll out to his right. He might have a lane to run. Instead, he's going to throw it into 5 different guys covering one man. Yeah. I know he's trying to go to Thurston. That time he needs to take off with it.
Yeah, you got to kind of take what the defense gives you, and I don't know that the defense was really giving you Thorsten. It did kind of hit him in the hands, but it hit him and a couple other people in the hands, and kind of an easy pass break up there with the way the coverage was set up.
I do want to give Brenny credit, though. He still fit that into a tight window. I mean, that's a window that many of the quarterbacks in the state can't fit it. He still fit it in there amongst 4 or 5 different defenders. So, although that's one where in tape they'll look back and say, hey, maybe don't throw that one that time, but still got it in there. Meanwhile, another bubble screen out here to, I forgot his name now.
Lewandowski.
There you go. Lewandowski, and he gets another couple moves for a first down. Looks like they'll spot him with the nose at the 40, so 10 yards there.
Foley's got to replace a couple of receivers, but, you give Brenny, as you mentioned, another year of off-season passing league and some things like that. This Foley offense, or really and defense, this Foley squad as a whole, they're going to be that much better next year. I think they're going to challenge for, one of the top seeds in the section and maybe try to take a run at Annandale again next year, because I got to believe that Annandale is going to be back. I don't know what they graduate. I don't know what they got going on. But just looking at what they have, and they got 436 guys on their roster, it's a lot of talent that's out there.
I think you're one off. I think it's 437.
Oh, well, the one was just wearing the jacket.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
didn't know
right.
If he had pads on or not.
Meanwhile, the last carry by Damaris is good enough for 8. This one good enough for 3, and a new set of downs for Foley. So it'll be a first down for the Falcons as we start to see them rotate in a couple more guys. I don't think Kipka's night is officially over carrying the ball, but they're going to give it off to a couple of different guys to carry the ball here as this one goes along. I believe that is, no, it's not Kipka in the backfield, so his night might be done with 4.5 minutes to go as Brenny still under center, two receivers right. They'll take the snap. He's going to roll and look to throw it into the end zone. Oh, man, just overthrew him. Looking for his intended receiver, Liberta. Just overthrew him. Again, a really good run route by Liberta. Beat the safeties deep, but just a little too much on that one from Brenny.
Just a little bit high, just a little bit out of the reach of the intended receiver, but in the backfield, it was a nice pickup initially of the blitz by DeMars, but he kind of tackled the guy in the back there. He got up and he's looking at the official like, where's the flag?
Well, this late in the game, it might not matter too much, but still want to get the good calls. Meanwhile, a carry here by their fullback, and man, he's showing off the speed, showing off the power. He's up to about the 14-yard line that time. Liam Harris, a gain of 25.
My favorite part of that run there is Jackson Newts came back up from his safety position. Harris didn't juke him. He didn't move. I don't think he even lowered his shoulder. He just ran right through him.
Yep. Yeah, he was not worried about that defender coming up. He just said, hey, try it. You can try it, but good luck. He believed in himself. I love it. So they'll have first down and 10 from inside the red zone. It's a fumbled snap. Somehow still gets to Damaris, and he's going to have close to another first down up to the 5-yard line.
We'll call that a running back draw.
Yeah, I mean, it works out as one because Brenny fumbled the snap, and I think a lot of credit goes to Damaris because he waited. He didn't rush it. He didn't try and go recover the fumble. Instead, he just waited. Knew Brenny was going to pick it up. Calmly picked it up, gave it to Damaris, and he took off with it.
That's one of those plays that you try to. I'll let you call this one here, and then okay, well,
yeah,
I'll call it. That one a little bit less so. But it's one of those plays, that last one, that, you talk about running backs having patience in the hole because you have to let those blocks develop and have that hole open in front of you. Obviously linebackers want to be able to fill that. But that was one of those that the ball went going on the ground, kind of forced some extra patience. But DeMar's experienced running back knew how to be able to use that opportunity. But it shows exactly what happens. You give it a little bit of an extra, like a half a beat, and it just opens wide open.
Well, that last play that we didn't call was a loss of 1 on the toss. So they'll line up now. They'll fake it to the right. He's going to roll to his right again. And, it's going to be a first down, but he is cut down. And he gets up, though. Pass is complete there to number 30. That is Porter Lower? Hope I'm close, at least, on the name. But a gain of about 5 there. And it's a new set of downs. First down and goal.
2:18 to go here in the ball game. You talked about only giving up 10 max throughout the course of the year. I'm sure that Annandale's looking prideful on that defense, but Foley not letting up at all.
They're going to give it up the middle. They're going to give it to Kipka. Why not? Let him score again. So Kipka is going to get into the end zone from about 2-3 yards out on the carry, and he'll score his second touchdown of the evening to make it 37-13. The clock will run as it does under that 5 minutes when it's as lopsided, unfortunately, as it is. But they do get on the board, and, hey, you take away their max of 10 they gave up on the season, and you make it 13 now and possible 14.
And, again, it's going against a different level of defense, and so you can't really take a whole lot of stock in it. But at the same time, that's the Foley offense that we've seen and have the ability to be able to put out there.
Flag is down on the PAT. That was no good, by the way, so we could see a re-kick. We'll wait for the... Yeah, they're
checking with Foley.
Yep. So this will be on Annandale. Let's see what the call is here. I'm guessing either some sort of leverage or offside, something. Now they're going to have a conference and talk. Well, that was a quick one. So couldn't quite tell what the call was. It sounded something close to leveraging, though, on the so it maybe lined up over the center or the snapper. I'm not quite sure, but it is a flag on Annandale nonetheless.
I think it was poor karaoke.
Oh,
it
okay.
Yep,
Gotcha.
That was I think that's what the call was.
Meanwhile, they will retry the PAT. This time, it is good. So 14 now for Foley. 37-14 is the score. 1:53 to go. Unfortunately, this one is over, but, you know, Foley has had a great season. And, again, albeit different defense, they put up 14 on a team that's only allowed max 10 all season. That's pride for Foley. But you mentioned it. This team next year is going to bring back a really good chunk of what they have here this year as the starters. There's no reason that they can't be the number 2 team in this section battling for that number 1 seed with Annandale.
And you never know. I mean, there may be some adjustments to the section. There may be there's 150 different things that could potentially happen in the next year. But if I take, what's going on and what I've seen from the rest of the section throughout the course of the year, and there are some teams that are still developing. Malacca, you talk to them, they're a couple of years away. They got a really good group of kids coming up. Pine City feels pretty good about some stuff. Moore's kind of rebuilding their numbers. Spectrum, we'll see kind of what they do as far as a regular season next year. Yeah. But Annandale, so deep, so talented, so many different people. And what Foley brings back next year, I mean, I don't know that I necessarily want to buy a ticket just yet because the Ticketmaster probably won't sell one to me. But at the same time, I expect this to be the exact same matchup next year, right back over here. I mean, obviously I'm not trying to take anything away from any of the other teams. And, I hope that we get, if nothing else, a local team over here to be able to maybe take on Annandale or maybe even beat Annandale before they get there. You never really know. A lot of things can happen, like I said. But just based on what I've seen, these two teams, especially Foley, likely coming back and coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that statement. I think it very well will be the same teams, as Annandale will take the knee, so they have pretty much decided that is all we need to see, and they will be headed to the state tournament. So Annandale will kneel out the rest of the clock, and that is going to be it for this one. But I want to go back to what you were saying about next year's teams, and again, you said it. There a billion different things could happen, but I want to. I've been able to call Pine City this year, and not because I'm the Pine City kid, but if they're able to figure out offense next year, you take that defense with an offense that can at least put up 20, 22 points a game. They're going to be another team that could give Annandale a run for their money. And why not beat them in the playoff? We could see 2 local teams in this section championship next year if a team is flagged.
Apparently, it was a delay game.
Oh, okay. Well,
seemed like a little bit quick count on that.
Yeah,
whatever. They're just trying to kneel it out. Let them do it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, do we need the flag? I don't think Foley's going to care.
Annandale's already lined up at the 50. Yeah. They got all their guys ready to go.
Yeah, I don't think Foley really cares too much about a delay a game call on a kneel down, but all right. But yes, I think next year is going to be very entertaining in this section, albeit, yes, a couple teams are kind of, I don't want to say rebuilding, but just kind of their program is kind of getting a new start. You talked about, Malacca and Mora kind of, Mora's got a new head coach. Malacca's still kind of getting their youth built up in that program. And with these next 2-3 years in this section, we could wind up having 2 local teams here at this section championship with the way they're going.
Oh, absolutely. I don't doubt that at all. You mentioned Pine City, doing a lot of their games and seeing them quite a bit. I did, all the Malacca games this year and seeing them, again, even in the postseason against this Foley squad. And, they took their lumps. They took some lumps throughout the course of the year. But that's another one of those teams that, they're young. They're very young. They only had a handful of seniors and then 4 juniors or something like that. So what you were seeing was a lot of sophomores, freshmen getting a lot of playing time on a varsity level. And, it's hard to be able to do that just physically. You could be gifted as a skill position, But when you're talking about, up front, trying to be able to, go against guys just physically growing into your body to a certain extent, it's a factor. And, Malacca's going to be there. Give him a couple of years of, kind of building into that. You mentioned that the next handful of years is definitely going to be something to, watch for and something to kind of keep an eye on. I think that they'll be kind of in and around that, probably a couple of years from now. Foley next year, I expect to be right back over here. You talk about, Pine City kind of building things up as well. Mora trying to build their numbers back up with, new coaching staff, new setup, and new deal going there. But they're only a couple of years removed from being in and around a section championship. So, it can change that fast. You get, the right person in the right situation and the right group of guys to, have the right mindset. You don't even need to have 2-3 years to be able to rebuild everything.
No.
You can do it in a year. And so I think it'll be interesting to see what a lot of those teams are going to bring in the next couple of years. But I definitely expect, for sure, section championship next year, I expect Foley to be right back over here if the section stays the same as what it is right now. Again, you never really know. There's shuffling and reseeding that happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, this year was big for that, too.
Exactly. And that's kind of, that was a wild thing. I mean, Annandale only had to win one game to be able to get here.
Yeah. So it was crazy the way this got reshuffled. But that is going to do it. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll recap more of this one, let you know what's coming up, maybe for a little bit of winter sports as well as tomorrow, and give you our final thoughts on football maybe as a whole as well. But first, a word from our fine sponsors here on KBEK.
Kettle River Pizza, the handcrafted pizza made locally in Ask Cove, Minnesota. Always the highest quality ingredients. Pizza that is consistently great tasting. A true crowd pleaser. 16 varieties to choose from. Enjoy the classics like pepperoni, pepperoni sausage and supreme, to the unique tastes of hot Hawaiian, taco, buffalo chicken, and chicken Alfredo. Pick some up at your local grocer, tavern, or convenience store. Handcrafted Kettle River Pizza. Moms and basketball players approved.
All right, guys, when you get into the end zone, I want a big celebration. Maybe the gritty?
Nah, the Dirty Bird.
Ready, break.
There are plenty of different celebrations after a touchdown. When it comes to yours or your loved one's end-of-life celebration, there are also choices. Find guidance from the professionals at Methvin Funeral Homes, church services, celebration of life services at one of their chapels, or even cremation. Methvin has the resources to facilitate everything from start to finish. Methvin Funeral Services in Mora, Sandstone, and Isle, or find them online at methvinfuneralhome.com.
A&W Restaurant Pine City is still making fresh root beer, that signature item since 1919. It's still made fresh and on-site with real cane sugar and a blend of secret ingredients. It doesn't get any better than this. Their world-renowned A&W root beer is a classic treat, and they can top it off with creamy vanilla soft serve to be known as the famous A&W root beer float. Now that's smooth, tasty, and refreshing. An American iconic A&W root beer float. It never tasted so good. A&W Restaurant Pine City. Come grab your root beer float today.
CF Moto gives you everything you're looking for in off-road side-by-sides and utility by-sides. Not only does CF Moto offer comfort, but refined performance, and is found at Caswell Cycle in Mora. For those craving big adventures for off-road, CF Moto can help you get out on that next adventure with CF Moto Power Sports. Experience more together. The best place to purchase CF Moto off-road side-by-sides is Caswell Cycle. The fun starts here. Caswell Cycle, Mora. Motorcycles, ATVs, and side-by-sides can be dangerous to operate. Review all product manuals, labels, and safety information before operating. Always wear your safety gear and never operate a CF Moto vehicle under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Visit cfmotousa.com for complete training and safety guidelines.
Pizza Pub in Pine City has a pizza and salad buffet on Fridays.
Not the right vibe. Trav and the gang at Pizza Pub are a little hipper. Here we go. Take two.
Start off your weekend right with the Friday Pizza Buffet at Pizza Pub. From 11 to 1, pile your plate high with all-you-can-eat pizza for just $12, or upgrade to pizza and salad buffet for only $16. And they're now open Friday and Saturday 11 to 11 and Sunday 11 to 9. Pizza Pub, serving fresh pizza every day of the week. Come stop in.
Pizza Pub of Pine City.
Are you ready to get back to doing what you love? Whether it's recovering from an injury or preventing one, Wellia Health Sports Medicine Team is here to help. From kids to adults, we specialize in treating sports injuries, including concussions. We're here to get you back to peak performance. Call us today at 320-679-1313 or schedule an appointment through MyChart. Visit welliahealth.org.
Are you tired of spending your weekends on yard work? Central Outdoor Services in Pine City is your complete solution for all things outdoors. From perfectly manicured lawns to stunning landscaping and patio installations, we've got you covered. Need a boulder wall, some light dirt work, a fire pit, or even reliable snow removal in the winter? We do that too. Central Outdoor Services is here to give you back your free time so you can enjoy your yard instead of working on it. Visit centraloutdoormn.com to learn more or give us a call today.
Back here on KBEK, nice 95.5 FM. The Falcons fall here in the Section 5-3A championship to the Annandale Cardinals, 37-14. Ethan Game Day Gilman, Andy Beckstrom out here at the field at St. Cloud Tech. And Andy, this one, it's unfortunate for Foley, but the second half, it started off, well, honestly, it kind of started off okay, but then they shot themselves in the foot, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then we talked about that throughout the course of the game, and really even before the game, that Annandale is such a good team and such a solid team that do so many things well that you kind of almost have to play a near-perfect game just to be in the game. And unfortunately, that's a high bar to be able to achieve, and that's not a slight at all to the Foley squad out there tonight. It's just very hard to be able to play a perfect game generally, and then to play a perfect game against a defense like that, and the way Annandale was able to move the ball around today. There's a couple of self-inflicted things that Foley did that definitely had a factor in the game, but arguably, this is still maybe a 10-7, 7-0 type. Different turnovers, one on a fumble recovery for a touchdown, the other one with just a big return and then scored on offense shortly after that, but that's a 14-point swing in a matter of about a minute and a half. The game was starting to trend that way, but that was kind of the backbreaker of the night.
Yeah, and if we look at the possessions for Annandale, it was a first down and punt on their first drive, and then a 3-and-out for Foley. Then their next drive, it was one play and a 55-yard touchdown, and then a 3-and-out for Foley again. The next drive for Annandale was another punt and another 3-and-out for Foley. To begin the second quarter, it was 34-yard drive, then a touchdown. And then for Foley, it was yet another 3-and-out. Then it was a 3-and-out for Annandale, and then another 3-and-out for Foley. Then Foley forced a punt or a fumble right there at the end of the first half, and just obviously allowed the quarter to go into halftime. But it seemed like they had at least cut into that Annandale momentum going into the half, and we were talking like, okay, you stop them there before the half. Now you've given yourselves a chance here to begin the second half, and what they wanted to do in this game, and you said it while the clock was running down, was the offense we seen here in the fourth quarter. Foley able to run the ball, able to get some quick completions on the edge, on the outside, near the sidelines. And if they were able to do that to begin this second half, it'd be a much different game. But again, it still would have been really close, but would have been a much different game.
Absolutely, and it's a talented group that Foley has, and it's a talented group that they'll come back with next year. I mean, light a handful of seniors that are on this year's squad. Again, Annandale just did such a good job limiting what they were able to do. Foley just never got the opportunity to get their run game started. And when I talked about before about that Brenny and that passing attack is a above serviceable to solid passing attack, that's when you're able to run the ball a little bit to be able to keep those linebackers back. Brenny was still able to fit a couple of balls into some really tight windows, albeit sometimes dropped, not really caught. Some different issues there. But Brenny did a really good job being able to get that ball in there in some windows that might be a little bit more open if linebackers are crunched up, worrying about the run a little bit more instead of sitting back and being able to jump routes more than anything.
Right. And for Foley to begin the second half, just to talk about how unfortunately, just to put it honestly, bad it was. It was a safety that it wound up with a holding it was a false start that started it. Then it was the fumbled snap, and then it was the intentional grounding, and then it was the holding in the end zone for a safety. Then the next drive, it was an interception, and the following drive was a fumble that Annandale took back for 60 yards for a touchdown. So the first three drives were turnovers for Foley, and obviously not a recipe for success, but I was really impressed that they just continued to keep playing. They didn't. There were no heads being hung. Although, again, there was a little bit of confidence being shaken. They kept continuing to come back and fight and play in this one up to the very end, and I was really happy to see that from them because, I mean, after those 3 drives, it would have been really easy for them just to kind of be like, we're done. That's it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's easy to just kind of, you know, fold up the tents, you know, fold up shop, and just, you know, put in your time and let let somebody else play or do whatever. And so, you know, I give credit. You know, we talked a lot about pride there in the late third and into the fourth quarter. You know, pride on both sides, really. You know, Annandale didn't want to give up the touchdowns, but at the same time, you know, Foley wanted to say, you know what, we're better than this. Let's prove that we're better than this. Let's make this statement and make sure that they remember next year, if we're back in this same type of situation, that they can't just take it lightly because they were able to prevent us from doing that in the first half. And that, you know, that 21-point swing to start that third quarter, again, it's such a game changer. You don't have that 21-point swing. Again, not that you stop them on every single opportunity, but that you take that 21 points away from the 37 that they scored, it's a whole different ballgame at this point.
It really is. And taking a look at some stats here before we get going, 235 total yards of offense for Annandale, 25 carries, 71 yards rushing, 9 of 15 passing, 164 yards between the 2 quarterbacks. It was Koval who led them 4 of 8 for 105, 5 of 7 for 59 for Fabi. Leading the way receiving was Purcell, not surprising. 6 catches for 142 yards. I think that's good. I think 142 yards receiving is pretty darn good in a game. Then for Foley, they had 218 total yards of offense, 36 carries, 160 yards rushing, 6 of 15, 58 yards passing for Carson Benny. Obviously, Kipka was a bell cow, 25 carries, 105 yards on the evening, 2 touchdowns here in this one for Kipka, and he'll be back next year. We mentioned it, though. They're going to be missing some seniors. They're going to miss a couple of offensive linemen. Some of their receiving core is going to go, so they're going to have to find guys to step into those shoes, but there's a really big core of this group coming back for next year, and that's why we believe this team will, not should, could, will be back in this same game next year.
They're well coached. They play good fundamentals, and they do a lot of the things right. The mistakes that they made tonight, the couple of turnovers, very uncharacteristic, but again, forced by a really good team. But you play a game like that, and you take on a team like that, and the schedule that they had this year was no slouch. We talked about them taking on Jordan and I'm trying to remember the other, Albany. Like some of those games, you know, you lose some of those games, but you learn a lot through some of those, you know, trials and tribulations and some of those situations. And, you know, again, they are losing, you know, probably near 700 pounds worth of offensive linemen that are going out the door. And that's not a slight. They're just big, beef-eating guys that can mow you down. Like they're some big, tough linemen. And that's going to be a huge loss. They're going to lose 2, I believe 3 different receivers, 2 of their starting wide receivers. And then that's a tough loss. That's a tough thing to be able to, you know, try and overcome and try to be able to work through. And, you know, you give the rest of those skilled guys the opportunity. They're bringing back enough pieces that they should be able to just reload, reset, and I'm not going to say they're going to go undefeated. I'm not going to call that, but at the same time, like, you got to feel confident about what the direction they're heading in and what they have building and what they have as far as the talent up and down that roster.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun season next year for sure, just specifically in this section alone, but I can't wait for it. But unfortunately, Foley does fall in the championship to Annandale 37-14. Our Pine Insurance of the game. I feel like it's pretty obvious Kipka could be the guy, but is there anyone besides Kipka who you would say is the Pine Insurance player of the game for Foley?
I mean, there's a handful of people you could put out there. I think that, you know, some of the names that kind of popped to mind. I think that Brenny still had a pretty dang good game for what he was trying to work with. On the defensive side of the ball, I got to tip my cap to DeMars. I think that DeMars had a tremendous night back there. Didn't run the ball a whole lot. He's usually the spell back that, you know, gives Kipka more of a break, but didn't have a whole lot going on offense for him on that one. But he had a tremendous defensive game. I thought he made a lot of really nice plays. You know, Kipka would set the edge, and he'd come up and make the tackle and actually jump that gap and make a lot of plays. And so, you know, I'd probably give my nod to those 2 guys, you know, on each side of the ball.
Yeah, both those guys really did have a good game as well. But going forward in this one, that will be it for us. We're now going to slowly shift our attention towards winter sports. We do have Rush City playing in their section championship tomorrow against Esco, so be sure to tune in for that one. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in. We want to give a huge shout out to you, our loyal listeners who tune in for this and every other game that we call. We appreciate you for tuning in. We thank you so much. It is because you are able to come back out here. Also want to give a huge shout out to all of our fine sponsors, even though they are delicious and we can't stand but eat during our games. But we thank all of our fine sponsors who sponsor this and every other broadcast that we do. It's not only thank you to them, but it's because of them we're able to be out here and bring you this game for free. So if you stop by any of our local sponsors you've heard here tonight, be sure to stop in and say, hey, thanks for sponsoring WCMP and KBEK. Foley falls in this one, 37-14. If you want to stay up to date with local sports, you can on the morning show with Adam Hefty at 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, where we'll talk local sports, this game and all the other games going on in our local listening area. Another way you can stay tuned is our website, kbk.com. Go to the sports tab, click on broadcast schedule. That's where you'll find all the links for the games that we'll be covering during that week of play. It is subject to change. Also on our website, you'll see coaches and players interviews well as articles from games that we've been at, so you can read them from our point of view. Another way to stay tuned is our social medias, our KBEK Facebook page and our X or Twitter at Q Media Sports for all things local sports, breaking news, LOI signings, broken records, coaches retiring, coaches being hired, players breaking records, just all that and more on our social media. So be sure to like, follow, subscribe, do whatever it is you have to do to stay up to the latest with local sports on KBEK. Andy Beckstrom, any final thoughts here as we finish off the football season for our local teams?
Just want to appreciate all the sponsors. Once again, you touched on it. I've touched on the games that I've done. The listening audience. I've had some of them even, stop and chat with me a little bit after games. Usually by the time we get out of here, most everybody's gone. Yeah. But even before the game, it's always fun to be able to chat with fans and chat with people. But I can't say enough about our wonderful and tremendous sponsors all the way up and down the line. Mm-hmm. That being said, if there's one out there that wants to buy me a heated jacket for hockey season, I'm not going to say no. We'll get an embroidery on there or something like that. It'd be totally great. But no, they've been just absolutely fantastic, and I want to appreciate everything that they've done and continue to do. As we still got a little bit of volleyball left, but we kind of turn our sights a little bit towards the now the winter sports season and basketball and hockey and wrestling and everything else. It's winter sports. Nordic skiing and
yes.
Everything else.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else that is winter. I wanted to get in on it, but I couldn't think of anything in time. But, yeah, we appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thanks so much for tuning in. Andy, thanks so much for all the games that you've done here throughout the fall sports season. We hope that you'll be back here for hockey. It starts not next week, but the week after. So I hope you're ready for hockey. I still can't believe it starts already. But don't worry, we will be out there for all those and that much more. Stay tuned for interviews with local coaches as we'll be getting those as well. Again, the final here on that Embrace Orthodontic scoreboard, Foley falls to Annandale in the section championship, 37-14. Well, for KBEK, that's Andy Beckstrom. I'm Ethan Game Day Gilman. Have a great rest of your night, a fantastic weekend, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow for Rush City's volleyball section championship on WCMP.
Kettle River Pizza is a proud supporter of sports teams and community organizations. Local groups and teams across the state have had amazing success with Kettle River Pizza fundraising. From sausage and pepperoni to chicken Alfredo or the hot Hawaiian, the cheesy deliciousness practically sells itself. Visit Kettle River Pizza fundraising on Facebook to schedule your next fundraiser. It's so easy to get started. Got a pizza craving now? Pick up a Kettle River Pizza at your local grocery store or convenience store today. That's great tasting pizza.
That concludes our broadcast from KBEK Sports, a Q Media Group radio station, and brought to you in part by local advertisers. For high school sports schedules, scores, and interviews, visit KBEK.com. Catch more local live action all season long, right here on this local radio station, or the Nice 95.5 mobile app, available for free download in the App Store, and multiple Q Media Group YouTube streams. Thank you for joining us. Now back to regularly scheduled programming. Nice 95.5 is KBEK FM Mora.
Kettle River Pizza is a proud supporter